Oh, hello there. Welcome back to another Pill for Pup live art stream here on YouTube. So today, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to draw, but you can stick around and enjoy it if you like, or you can head on out. For now, we're going to start with this Pokemon piece, and then I'll move into some critiques and redrawings of your work to help you learn alongside me. And then from there, maybe some animation, and then maybe some Pokemon requests, because I'm in a Pokemon mood. Pokemon Horizons came out. It's pretty cute, pretty fun. And then after that, we'll see. So enjoy. Yo, what's going on? How you doing, Unbab? How you doing? Oh, playing Diablo, so I'm just lurking. No worries. What class are you playing? Is it Diablo 4? Druid. Druid was my favorite. I always wanted to do like more animal builds with it, but it didn't really work out. I'm still trying to figure out the background on this. I kind of like this, but those dark colors really sell it, in my opinion. Oops. It's such a big piece. It takes like a long time for anything to like move right. Hi, Leo Valdez. How you doing today? Pleasure having you here. Trying to get this like stadium feel. Let me see. What is it? Football stadium. You do like a. I think this is pretty good right here. Does that work? Oh, it's saving. Hello. Oh, seagull! It's coconut water. I don't like this. I don't like that. I think there's something here with the, Okay, there we go. I want to do something like this, maybe. I'll do filter, blur. What if I do box blur? Box blur, just to clear it out. There we go. That's a little bit better. A bit less. Something like that. And I want the colors to be different and just hue. Kind of like the orange, that's pretty nice. Right there. Kind of like a sunset. But the midnight's nice too, because that accents all the purples that are going on. And I could do this. Friend. Yeah, thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were streaming. Ah, you're okay. Very cool. Hey, thanks, Art Boy. I appreciate that. I hope the music's not too loud for y'all. Yeah, this one's really busy, but I can at least... Like one here, and one here. Here. Yeah. Then. Like that. Did you draw this? This is amazing. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm working on the background right now. It's me as a Pokemon trainer. I don't have my beard, though. Maybe I should give him a beard. I could try it. Also, hi, Perry. Hope you're doing alright. See how that looks. I don't like it. What if it was a purple beard? That's cool. Green beard. Ew! The purple beard actually doesn't look that bad. Oh, it's Trainer Pilf. Yo, let's go. Very. Hey, thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. Epic. This is a commission? No, this is me. I thought it was official art at first. Oh, I appreciate that. That means so much. Oh, it's Trainer Pilf. Yeah, still sick. But back to work. It's gotta go away at some point, haha. Yeah, good luck, bud. Purple beard is cool. Are you going to dye your actual beard? No, I'm not gonna dye my beard purple. Nice try there, friendo. One of my friends dyed his beard blue. Oh my gosh, that's a standout if there ever was one. That actually doesn't look too bad, honestly. This is pretty cute, though. Get rid of that. We'll do some of this. The only problem is this picture's like really big. Am I literally drawing on that? Oh my gosh. I mean, maybe that's not the worst thing. You look like an anime character. Is this your 18? Yeah, this is my favorite. These are like my favorite 6 Pokemon. Then I need like a gray, because these are the same color. Make it like more like this. Where do I even put those? Is it here? No, it's not. So where is it? Where the heck did I put it? There they are. I just don't know what to do with the background. I mean, the most logical thing is at the stadium, right? Because I do kind of want it to be night, but... Psychic Dragon and a Tiny Leaf. Solid team. I think it's a Goo Dragon. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Thought it was. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I like this boy. He looks sick. Want to watch. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's pretty good. And do a really dark purple for that. For the rest. No, because it's going to be the same color as his hair. Yeah, less. Because his hair is here. I need to be like down here. There we go. There we go. And then this should be gray. Maybe more of like a... I could do like the yellow. That's really bright. That's better. Oh, hold on. The stadium is very fitting. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, you can. I think right now I'm just listening to music and like getting into the motion of it. But yeah, we can chat if you want on Discord. You're welcome to. Let's see. What are the sticky? Yo, yo, yo. I think I just messaged you. This weekend I reclaimed my office and exiled the guest bed. Ooh, very nice. So now you have a workspace that you enjoy more. I liked your previous workspace though. Oh, but that is very important. You do need some alone space, that's true. Something a little bit more deeper. Oh, this would have to be the same as this, I think. Yeah, I think. Oh, it's sticky. Let's go. Let me turn on my music. Otherwise, I'm gonna just deafen everything out. What's going on, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Wow, you sound just like in stream.
Have we ever voice chatted before?
We have not.
Crazy. How are you
That's
doing?
well. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Very nice, very nice.
I'm enjoying the background work in here that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, Brian. Thanks for joining. And you're also gonna stream. Our chats are just gonna overlap the voices.
No, I'm gonna wait to stream a little bit. I figured I wanted to reach out to you because I've been watching you for a long time. I love your art.
Oh, thank you.
And I've been doing YouTube as well, and it's like, but on a different. I think I've had a different everybody's got a different path, but I've had a very different mindset that I'll be honest, I've shifted my mindset a lot because I've tried to been like YouTube and art more focused full time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you kind of have you have other things going on too, so it's different.
right, definitely.
But that being said, I mean, I love your art, and I just figured kind of just bounce some ideas off you, put some things out there, and also kind of maybe for anybody in chat as well, or for yourself, just ideas to kind of think about, especially with a lot of the changes that are going on with YouTube right now, because they are massive changes going on. Like I'll put it this way, my channel, like views, all that stuff was pretty like stable and doing well.
Yeah.
And in the past few months, both of my channels, I mean, they're both doing really well. Don't. I'm not gonna be like ungrateful for it, but compared to what they were doing, they tanked.
Right. I see. That's crazy.
With that, knowing that, I changed what I was doing, and I found out that there's actually like kind of resurfacing of old school mentality with YouTube of like, I think I forgot the process or what it's called, but it's basically you create artwork, and you're not creating content.
Right.
And people will appreciate it for what it is, as long as you're able to do like the small. It's like it'd be like 90% artwork, 10% content, or maybe 80% artwork, 20% content ratio.
Right.
Which I've always done like in the past. I feel like I've been doing like 50-50, which is terrible as an artist to grow. Like it takes too much away from, like I found myself personally, it's like I felt like I was not growing as an artist when I was like focusing on drawing like fan art and all these other things that were kind of distracting me from my own like original art.
Right.
So, but that being said, I mean, you kind of have your own thing. Like, what are do you have like any long-term goals with art, or is it just you like doing it and you?
It's a little bit of each. I'm mostly just like creating stuff, and that's kind of my goal with YouTube to begin with, was just to create like where people could see it, and if they want to enjoy it, they can. Ideally, it would be nice to kind of post more animation stuff, as you see me always animating, but doing the animation is one thing, coloring it and like finalizing it is completely different. So it's not like this illustration where I could do the line art, I could do the rough, do the line art, do the composition, color it, give it a background, and then be done. Like that's one picture. Doing that with an entire animation is like wildly different. And so I have to figure out how to do that in a more like streamlined, faster way, a way that makes sense for like YouTube, right? Because I can't post one a year. That's just not going to be something that people want.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And animation is like that though, because it takes so long. So it's like
yeah,
it's not like a piece of artwork or a painting where it could take a month or a few weeks or some depending on how long. But yeah, with animation, it's very in depth.
yeah. There's a lot going on, and so yeah, it would be nice to say like, oh, I'm gonna work faster, but it's like I can't just work faster. That's not how art works. It's like it just takes as
No,
long as it takes.
you gotta let the process do its thing and like
Yeah,
and go with it and learn with it and you get faster. Well, you might not even ever get faster. Like it might just be a process type thing. So yeah, for sure.
right.
Yeah, with that in mind, I mean, you can make content based around like your process and progress. It doesn't have to be finalized work where you're posting a final piece of artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could probably send you some examples of it, but there's a lot of artists that, I mean, they never post final artwork. They just
Right.
don't. They make content that's, just their like daily stuff. They kind of mix it. It's just relatable.
Right.
Like think of like yourself as a person, and like you're just posting stuff that you enjoy and that, and just having that mentality. It kind of frees you up and opens up. Like you don't have to. And the other thing too is with content, you can
Mm-hmm.
just do whatever you want. Like try whatever you want. If like if you want to try and make I think a while back I think I told you like maybe you could do like just like a short part of the animation and show like where you're at,
Right.
or like the character bios, because then that's a little bit something more like you can get those done and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you were to even post like a weekly like update from what you did on the stream as a short, maybe Sunday into Monday, or like at some point where it kind of like will get out to people, like even if it's whatever day it is, it's just gonna, I think, get more people wanting to come back and kind of see your updates and see what you're doing. Because some people don't have the time to sit through the whole live stream, of course, but they want to see what you're up to.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. So you're saying like clip what I've done through the week and then post it up as like a these things in like 45 seconds essentially. Because I
Just
know
keep it
I know you're
as
always
simple as possible and
yeah.
like low. Like you're not, don't like, try not to overthink it. Just think of like the simple thing of like, I'm trying to like think of like basically you've got people that are into your stuff, like what you would want from like who do you have any like favorite artists that you like to watch, or like that you kind of like follow and you're just like you like updates from them, or like or TV shows where you'd be like, I'd love to get more like about
Mm,
this. I mean, I haven't been like that in a while personally, but I know some people are, so it's different for everyone too. But I do have
right.
artists when I was more on a younger side. I do remember that was really important to me,
Okay.
and
Um
a lot of people kind of, I think, fall in that. I don't know about yourself, but if like you think back to like when you're younger, when you're getting into stuff, like was there ever a time where you're like, oh man, I want to get more info on a show, or more behind the scenes, like you just wanted more of it?
right. I get what you're saying. I could say like the last time that I could really think about that is when Pokemon first came out. And I was like, oh, like one more episode, I need to see one more thing, just like obsessed with it. So maybe something like that, or it's just like you really just want to know more.
I mean, and I think too, like I think the best form of content, in my opinion, is genuine stuff. So like
Right.
what I'm saying might be ideas that might click. They might be something that you might come up differently completely. But whatever you come up with is
Hmm.
like, that's the gold. That's like the content gold,
Right.
because it's like a lot of people that's their hardest thing is, what do I post? And it's like a lot of times it's like thinking of like what other people are going to like, but don't
Right.
think of it that way. Think more of just like what you like and put it out
Right.
there.
Right.
But yeah, I'm telling you, man, your stuff is good. Like your skill level
Thank
on
you.
art, drawing, and illustrating, and the animation stuff is just it's miles above like what most people are at in their level and progress. So
Hmm.
it also can be beneficial for those people to like see like that there's an artist out here that they can come watch stream. And I think it's somewhat taken it like, because so many people just do it on such a low end, it almost is taken for granted that somebody can come into a stream and they're just like, no big deal,
Hmm.
unless they're famous already, and like thing. It's like, oh, if somebody's famous, then I'll come to a stream.
Right. Right. No, you're right, and I think it it's difficult because it's like as artists, if somebody's not liking your work constantly, if there's not like a huge following, it's like, well, then why am I doing this? And then you kind of
Yeah.
forget like why you even got into art to begin with, which was just for creating's sake. Um,
Yes, but
but
it's turning into a sea of that, of like pointless content that it just, what I've noticed in the past few months is like all this like pointless, terrible content that's
mhm,
getting pushed out, and it's slowly like people are getting tired of it.
mhm,
They want genuine stuff. They're switching over to long format content because they're just tired of the shorts. Like they don't
right,
want short content.
right,
That being said, the short form content can be used very, very well and effectively
mhm,
if you're using, you basically are making the long form like good stuff that you're into, that you're actually passionate about, and then
mhm,
you just use the short side of it as a short, kind of as a like a teaser. Or, and that's the thing too, like you could also be like posting like the day before of like, hey guys, just checking in, this is what I plan on, this is what we did last week, this is what I plan on doing, this next Monday, because you stream every Monday, right?
yeah, every single
Every
Monday,
Monday,
yeah,
almost. But yeah, I mean, it's just little ideas like that that, I mean, you might not think it's a big deal, but you start implementing that, and you'll see like, I mean, I've had videos that were on my page on the main sticky art channel that were
mhm,
tutorials that I spent 20 hours on thinking they would help people, and
right,
never went to anybody. And I
yeah,
made like 2 or 3 shorts, just kind of like little snippet teasers of like parts of it that would get somebody that goes, oh, I want to watch more. And if they do, then they'll watch the whole, they watch most of the video. And those videos now, like some of those videos that had no like 100 views
mhm.
now have 200,000 views, and I'm talking about long format, not
Well,
not short.
it's crazy.
And the shorts didn't even get like, as weird as is, those shorts didn't even get that much, but it was just enough to get the YouTube ball rolling, where like YouTube sees, oh yeah, people are watching this, they actually enjoy it, like, or
Mhm.
they're getting something from it because they're sticking around.
Right, right. Now that makes
So
sense, and I appreciate the. Well,
and
and as I always go back to this, where it's just like a matter of time. My schedule did change, luckily, so I have one more day a week to like put into working on stuff. Um,
nice. I was gonna say too, you work full time, and you got, so you do, like, I don't want to like
yeah,
push you into doing more stuff, but
right,
like, and I totally get that. Like working a full time job is a full time job. That's
yeah,
what.
yeah. And it's yeah. So, but it is a good idea to at least have like an update of like this is what I'm working on, or I worked on, and this is what I plan to work on moving into next week, etc. I think that would be nice, and everybody would kind of like appreciate that, to just be like, oh, I see, because it kind of like it funnels all the views into essentially, oh, this is what this channel is, and like in like 30 seconds, like you get an understanding of it, and like it's pretty frequent too. So I do think
the
that's a good idea.
Yeah, the way I kind of look at it is like it's gonna go out to maybe, if you make a short or you make something we're doing update, maybe it only goes to a few hundred people, and that might not
Yeah.
seem like a lot. But say you get one person that just vibes with it, or somebody that hasn't seen your stuff in a while, and they're like, oh
Right.
yeah, I totally remember, I love that stuff, and I'm gonna go back to that because they see the value in it when once it's like back in hind, or like in their mindset, like, because it's very easy to forget about things, and you kind of just every day you go and doing stuff, and you kind of move on and do things, and yeah, so
Right. No,
yeah.
you're right. You're right. And you of all people know what you're talking about, because you're like pushing this stuff. You're always on top of it,
Well,
which I think is so cool.
Pilver, I'll put it this way: I've never been about like the money side of it. It's been about me wanting to
Yeah.
try and art full time, and it's like when I see another artist that is like passionate in it and they're actually doing it, I'm more than happy to share the information. I was gonna make a video about this, but I just know that it's like, to go out to the masses and make a video. I
Yeah.
mean, I could go into more detail about stuff and make a video explicitly for it, and just, it would be, a great video that would give a lot of people information, and that's great. But I don't want that information getting out there and then being turned so like people that are just in it for the
Right.
money are using it, because I've already seen that happen, and I'm tired of people like that are in it for the money, and they're not in, because when you're not in it for the passion, it's like it allows people to just do like very, I don't know, sketchy stuff. So that's why I haven't made a video on it. I won't ever. I'm gonna
Right.
focus on it. I'm gonna do more art tutorials so people have that, but yeah,
Right.
it's just learning. And the other thing too that I was gonna let you know, and anybody that's an artist, or anybody that, even if you want to just like get more people in, to your live streams, you can use a mobile device and stream.
Hmm.
What that does is it's going to go out to your usuals for the most part, and then it's also going to be going out to the like YouTube stream feed that a lot of people are on.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll get a lot more people into the streams.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, you will get a lot more um, random people. So you'll get people that'll just come in and like you basically, when you do that, you need like a moderator or moderators to kind of just keep an eye on chat, like so you can continue doing whatever you're doing.
Right.
But you'll see like right now, like how there's like you have your audience, people that come in regularly, which is awesome. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you open it up on the mobile, you'll see like 30, 40, sometimes even 100 people will be in chat at once.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's something that you're into, definitely something to think about, because it'll just get more people in here, and it might not be for a long-term thing that it's working.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking they're just pushing that right now, just like TikTok used to push,
Mm-hmm.
until a lot of people hop onto it, and then they start just like they don't push out shorts streams for the most part on TikTok anymore.
I see.
But right now in YouTube, if you're looking at like the grand scheme of like where people are looking, it's like live stream shorts and long format, surprisingly. Really...
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions? Like
no, everything you're saying makes sense. It always makes sense. It's always like, these are such good ideas, but then like just doing them, yeah, I guess implementing them and like kind of like breaking up my schedule to like fit them in is like the hardest part, because but yeah, I think that's a good idea, with just like condensing all the information into like these short videos of kind of like what I worked on would be a good place to start. That's like the most realistic place to start. Instead of like trying to do like everything at once would be a little much for me.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it. Is like don't try and do it all at once. Just do like one thing and see how it goes for you.
Right. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think Perry Pictures, exactly. YouTube keeps recommending me to make one, but I keep avoiding it because of anxiety. Well, yeah, and it really, I mean, I think so. Anxiety for me, and I don't know what this is for everyone else, but anxiety for me is a fear of failing.
Right.
This is how I always look at it for me. Like, and I've learned that like from. So it's kind of like one of those things where like if you can get past that, you're just gonna grow. I mean, you'll learn. Like,
right.
And if you just do it, I mean, you'll find out if it works for you. And I will just forewarn you. It is a little stressful if you just go into it like not knowing that there's going to be a lot of people, A, but B, you don't have to cater to the audience when it's like that. When you have people that are just joining, when you have people that are in here that are, genuine people that are like interested in the stream, and they're not just coming in to like get a shout out or whatever it is that's like really genuine, but like here, like if people talk, it's like, yeah, pay attention to the chat. It's like the people in here matter.
Right.
Versus on a short stream, you're gonna get these random people. You're gonna get very immature people that will say stupid things that just really are like trying to derail things just because they want attention.
Yeah,
and it's
obviously.
like kind of like old school. Like I remember YouTube streams back in the day, like 5 years ago. It's like that.
You're right.
Like where you could have a stream and have 100 people or 50 people all at once come in.
Right.
So, but yeah. No, it's and it really is like I think a lot of stuff I like it is hard to like start new things for sure, because I think the comforting side of it, of like when you have a routine, it's comforting. Like
yeah, I definitely hear you there.
But at the same time, comfort leads to like no progress. There's no usual progression in that. So it's like finding the right balance for yourself is definitely a hard thing, but it's worth just kind of just being aware of it, I guess, and then you can kind of deal with it as you can, and as you best can for yourself.
Right.
But no, it's good. It's good to chat to. I mean, I feel like as an artist, I think like all artists kind of experience similar stuff. I mean, we all have our setbacks and holdbacks that keep us from doing things, and we're all on our own path. So it's like we're all gonna have things that get in our way and things that we might be able to overcome. Some things that'll hold us back, but as an artist, and I feel like just relating to so many, it's kind of like we all kind of come from a similar something. There's definitely some connections that go on with all this stuff.
Yeah, there's like an appreciation for each other's like effort.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think like I understand it. Like I've been there. Like I've definitely been in a place where like I've spent a lot of time doing something. I tried something and I failed, and like it felt terrible, and it made me not want to do it again.
Right.
And then I've also done that same thing where I failed and then I did it again and then I got success from it. So it's like I've seen both sides of it, and if you're the person that hasn't seen both sides yet, it can be very hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, as I say, as so to speak.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, no, I think at the end of it, I really want to. I'm happy to come on here and chat, and it's like it's good to finally chat with you too.
Yeah, same.
But yeah,
same.
what are your plans like as far as for this piece? Is this like a just kind of like a passion to do?
Yeah, it was so because I have like friends. Oh, wait, hold on. Because like, see, it's 2 gigs limit for data. What the heck? How big is this fucking? How big is this art piece? Jeez. So the idea was me and like I have these art friends and they're always trying to like draw, but they get distracted, you know, because life, whatever. And so I was like, oh well, we'll start a project drawing together every night. So every night for the last 2 weeks, we've been consistently drawing for like 2 to 3 hours, and I think it's awesome. It's like so productive. And because one of us is there, the others have to be there because we're holding each other accountable. And I started it with like, all right, well, let's draw like ourselves as Pokemon trainers with like our main 6. Because I think everybody likes Pokemon. Everybody has like their 6 favorite. So of course, like you want to try it out. And so it just got the ball rolling. And so I got really into it and I was like, well, I like these characters and I like this style. And I've come such a long way from when I've drawn myself as a Pokemon trainer in like the past, which it was all right, but it didn't look like this good clearly. And so now I'm like, oh, now I really want to finish this piece. But now it's apparently 2 gigs big. Yeah, it is. It is pretty fun. I would.
Say, it looks. How long have you been working on this? Because it looks like I did something similar to for a commission for somebody because they had themselves and then like think it took me so long to do that.
Right.
It took me like 40 hours, I think.
Right.
But no, it looks really really good. Like it's just. Yeah, I like all the style of different Pokemon. Like I like how you put your own style into, but it still keeps like the Pokemon like vibe to it.
Right. It's very soft and like round and stuff, but it has like my aesthetic too. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I need to see if I could actually save this still though. I might have to start condensing layers because apparently
it's super crispy too. So it's like
yeah.
You said it's like 2 gigabytes.
Yeah, apparently it's 2 gigs. I don't know how though. I mean, I think
the file size.
Well, it's over 2 gigs. The image size is 24,000 by 12,000, so that's an issue.
How many DPI? You do a lot of print stuff.
I did one anime convention a long time ago, like five or 6 years, and then I do have some matte paintings behind me of my prints that I did. But go ahead, sorry.
Oh, and I'm sure that like it's like DPI versus like it should be interchangeable, but and you know how like whenever you it's kind of like that mentality. So if you can, instead of doing a large pixels, it'll give you more chance to like resize the image afterwards if you need to make it bigger.
So you're
smaller canvas size.
More DPI. Interesting. I didn't know that's a thing. That makes sense. Because I know what you're saying. When you resize it, it loses the quality, the crispness. Right. And that's because there's too many pixels for lower DPI. Interesting. All right. Thank you. That's something that I always wondered and never got like a clear answer on.
I think you get that, but it's pretty much like, so DPI is dots per inch. So it's how many dots crammed into a little square.
Right.
And so when you resize things with lower DPI, each time you do that, the pixels shift, and the pixel shift, then it blurs the colors. Unless you use what's called like nearest neighbor pixels, and you change that setting in your program where when it resizes it, it'll move everything over to the nearest pixel, which will give you a little bit crisper image, and you can resize it better that way. But if you're using like bilinear, or I forget what the other one settings are in like Photoshop and Procreate, it pretty much you'll shift it, and it'll be like, say if you move it over and it's on the edge of a pixel, it'll start to just change that other pixel next to it, like a different color, and it makes it so the whole thing is just, it's not what it used to be.
Right.
But
I
yeah, that's
understand
I
that.
mean, not to like say like, I just want to give you that tip just in case for like printing stuff like in the future it'll help it'll keep it even crispier.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I always wondered about that because I don't know how this got
You can either be in a background or you can be your own desk.
right.
And everything else around it looks like your desk. It's the added the art part.
Right. That
So
sounds
it's
fun.
interesting though. It's kind of trippy. Like I still am kind of like some of the stuff is just like whoa.
Yeah, that's
But
so cool.
yeah, last night I tried for the first time YouTube VR, which I've with like a cardboard box type thing
Right.
before, but there's actual videos that were filmed like using special cameras. I'm guessing, and you can like
Oh.
be watching it and look all the way around you, and it's really immersive. It's very very cool.
Hmm. That sounds fun. That
Yeah.
that's crazy because it's like if YouTube isn't enough already in your life, now you could like be integrated into YouTube.
Yeah, so far it's mainly like the ones that I found were like nature scape type things and
Oh,
like
that's
going through
beautiful.
nature and like there's
Hmm.
one where this like lady talks through the whole thing. It's kind of weird, but at the same time it's kind of like it's almost like too personal.
Yeah.
It's almost like holy cow, like and she's talking to like her husband. Like the whole
Oh.
thing's like a video memoir to her husband
Oh.
that they're both like it's not a memoir because they're both alive, but
Oh,
it's like
okay. I was
like
like, no.
like the way I look at it and like think about it is like I could see that being like a video memoir that is like later down the life, like somebody like looking back at, and it's
Yeah.
like a video. I don't know what the right term is for it, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. That's cool.
But she just talks about how much she like the love for her husband and like all the different like thoughts that were going
Oh.
through her head when she was hiking with him, like and
Hmm.
then like they can I don't know, it was really sweet, but
Yeah.
at the same time for me I'm watching I'm like this is cool, but I'm like
This is
I
not.
feel like
This
I'm
is.
like in this relationship. Like
Yeah. It's like specifically for
it's
him.
so immersive. It's just and like you like the voice because it's in the headset. It's like very like 3D,
Hmm.
like eight like whatever that eight D audio where it's like all around you.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, there's technology stuff is definitely doing crazy things. And,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess before I go,
Hmm.
do you have any thoughts on AI art? If
Um.
anybody is up for talking about it, or because I've been
Perry.
watching.
Perry loves AIR. That's her favorite thing. All she ever tells me is how much she loves the AIR is a part of this world and can't wait for it to advance fast enough. Right, Perry? No, I'm not against it. I think there's like people like I understand like yeah, it could replace jobs. That's just the way the world works. To be fair, I also don't have a job where AR is going to replace me. That would probably stress me out too because I think there's so many jobs where they're cutting people constantly that it's like, oh, here's another reason why they're going to let me go, right? And so it's really difficult to deal with that like, in the tech industry and whatnot. To me, it's just a thing that exists and people like it. It's like a toy, so it's fine. But I could see where people have hangups about it too. So,
I personally, my only thing with it is I want them to create stronger laws and regulations
right,
for copyright. That's my only thing because as an artist, I create my artwork, and in today's world, copyright law, it basically if somebody's going to recreate, my art and then try and sell it, they fall under like basically. I mean, it's in the U.S. at least, it's 2 to 5 years in prison, lots of money like involved with
right.
if somebody gets infringing it and you can prove it.
Hmm.
Versus like now with AI art, somebody can take my art and then train like or using like a bunch of images can train kind of like a prompt thing where then they can start creating artwork that's very similar to mine
Hmm.
that's not mine.
Right.
Which it seems cheap and easy, and it's like
Well,
I don't like that aspect of it.
it
And
it is cheap and easy. That's the whole point. That's like why it's so prevalent.
yeah,
It's like fast food. It's like yeah, the drawback from it is way greater. There's no value to it. It's just like instant dopamine, and it's quick and it's easy and it's cheap.
yeah,
But in the long run, it's like worse for you. It costs more. All these things, and there's no like benefit to it. In contrast to like going home and making food. That's like the easiest example, but the reality is that like more and more people have less time because that's just how the world works. Everybody's working two jobs now, so it's like of course everybody's trying to cut corners everywhere they can, and that's just going to be even more moving forward until we're all inside like the AI machine, like drinking primordial soup for dinner. That's like such an extreme. I don't actually mean that. That's I'm not like an AI earther or something.
No, but I mean, you could definitely see how like if nothing changes, it could go down that direction.
Right, right. Everybody
But
just
no,
yeah, yeah.
I think there'll be some bounce back after more and more people are aware of what it is and the downside of it, but it will
Right,
take a while.
right.
Um, I think the most thing that I've seen in my life that I've experienced, I had a job working as like data analytics, doing like boring job at an office, basically
Hmm.
looking at numbers. And my job was to like basically find like if we're like losing money, where
Hmm.
is it going, and like doing all
Right.
this stuff. And it was a pretty like intense like trying to figure it out and doing like I had to do it wasn't simple by any means, but I figured out processes on how to do it faster.
Hmm.
And once I found out those processes, like my boss like started to talk to me and we were working together, and he pretty much his mentality was I just want to do it for cheaper. So he's like I'm gonna work with like outsource the this and this job, and I want you to come up with basically like the prompts for it,
Oh, I see.
like basically to create like a prompt to get rid of my own job.
Right.
And his kind of like promise was like, oh, once you have that done, we'll put you into a better role. Well, that was a like I forgot what they call it, but it's like a future faking.
Hmm.
They basically did all the work, and then it came to like what my job role would be, and it was like, well, we don't really have a position that's anything higher up, so we're just gonna keep you in your position and have you supervise these people that you basically created like a prompt for them, and now I just have to like basically monitor. I'm a manager of them, and
Oh,
so I
that's
told them to
cool.
quit.
Oh, wow.
Because
Wow.
I had all the value, and I basically had built it where it was like I knew that I didn't give all of everything that I was doing, because I knew that if I gave everything away, like I would have no real like value other than at a certain point. And I looked at it and I saw the writing on the wall, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like not giving away the value for free. And I think as artists, I think we all need to realize our value, because I think anybody that's creating original art or their own thing that they're working on has value.
Definitely. The
And
problem is societally art has no value unless it's given value by someone that's above the person that's looking at it. So an example would
I
be
agree. Yeah.
when people go to an art exhibit, that art has value not because the art has value, it's because it is in an art exhibit. And so the person entering the exhibit assumes value of the art because of the exhibit, not because of the person, not because of the art. So it's essentially like there's a middleman that says like this is good for these reasons, and that could go like any way, but there's never going to be a time I don't think where it's like, oh, you're an artist, that's amazing, until maybe it's like too
Well,
late. Yeah.
I think that's the change that needs to happen, that I'm trying to be a part of, because I've realized there are two different value systems.
Hmm.
There's intrinsic value of something that actually has value with
Right.
itself without any need for anybody else, and that's what every human and person has in their own self.
Right.
And then there's perceived value, which is what people think their value is, or
Right.
the value of the artwork.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I guess my message and my mode of message and things that I'm going for is that I have learned and learned and learned that I do have value, and
Hmm.
every single artist, whether you're beginning or you are an advanced artist, has value.
Definitely.
Obviously, somebody that just started, their value is still valid. It's valid. It's there, and its potential. Like there's a potential, which is very important as well. But
Yeah.
it's not going to be the same value as somebody that's been doing it for 20 years.
Right. That's the case with like anything in life. It's like
Yeah.
you have to
So
create almost like your own value in the thing.
yes, you have to work towards the like you're gonna have the value that you start with and potential, but unless you do the actions to make it so you have the value,
Hmm.
which in today's world, meaning create like as an artist, you have to create the artwork. I think is number one, and create the artwork that you want to create.
Yeah.
But then the other side of it is create. You're also working to create perceived value, which in my experience, I used to do like drawing giveaways and stuff like that, where I draw stuff for people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do anything ever for free.
Oh, interesting.
And that might sound goofy. Like, why would you not do stuff for free? Like, art should be enjoyed. Like, I agree. Like, my art should be enjoyed by myself, and if other people want to enjoy it, that's great. But I have no desire, nor, and it's also the reason why I stopped doing it is because I found this actually detrimental to the perceived value. Because
You're saying doing it for free was.
Yeah, because
Right.
let me put it this way. Okay, so let's make something that's not so abstract. Let's take like a car shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's very everybody gets how a car shop works. Your car breaks down, you bring your car to the car place, and they say, yeah, it's going to need this part, and this is the labor, da, 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 is what it's going to be. And for the most part, like, people find out how much it's going to be. It's like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, that's a lot of money. I don't want to pay that. And then they take it to another person, and it costs about the same, maybe a little bit less. They can shop around. But at the end of the day, they're asking, they charge the rates of what they, are used to, and they just charge that. Now, flip it around. If they were a car shop that was, started a business, and they were like, hey, we're going to start our business, but we're going to undercut all of these other businesses to get started.
Right.
And we're just going to charge half price, even though our value, we are worth this, and it's not really going to make the ends meet. We're going to do that so we get all these customers.
Right.
And you think that's a good idea because, oh yeah, now it's cheaper. They're going to go to you. So, okay, you've done that. Now as the car shop, now you've got everybody that expects you to give half prices on everything. And then when you tell them full price, they go, what?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like fighting the intrinsic value versus it's trying to meet the perceived value, but the intrinsic value is more valuable. So
right.
And I think as an artist, I think we all know that there's value. It's just figuring out what it is and how we want to go about it. If you end up wanting to make a living or make money off of your art.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, like, I've done artwork personally, so it's very much like artwork stuff where it's exactly that. And I've done artwork for either very cheap or free for family members or for friends, and they're like, oh, I love it. And then it's like you go back and like you're like over at their house like a year later, and it's like, huh, where's that painting on the, like, it's not
yeah
anymore.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, I kind of changed my style, and it's like, at the same time, it's like it's kind of hurts, but the reality is like, oh yeah, I guess people change their style. But if they actually valued and they were willing to pay, what the going rate of a commission would have been, they would have never. They either A, would have never commissioned it, or they B, would never have gotten rid of it.
Right.
Actually. So.
Because the value was in the price that they paid, essentially.
Yeah. So, and it's like, and I'm not saying everybody's like that, because I have a friend that I gave a painting to, like, we're really good friends, and I painted like a really larger picture. And he's had like multiple like relationships that straight up told him like to take it off the wall. Like,
wow.
I don't like it, and he basically told him to take a hike. Like,
well,
he hangs it on his wall with pride. Like, and it's one of his like prized possessions where he's just like, I love this.
Right.
And it was a piece that was like an original like naturescape piece that's just very much like my own style, and like it was something like that I knew that he would enjoy. And so, I mean, there is that, like, so I'm not saying never do free art, but in the majority of trying to go long term, of trying to figure out and like create like yourself, doing things for free, it just, even if half the time it doesn't work out, it's kind of just like smack in the face. So
right. Yeah, I agree completely, honestly.
And I also kind of think too, like, if I do something like for somebody, I don't expect anything back. Like, there's no, like, I'm not expecting like eternal gratitude because I did something for, like, and I think there are different people that kind of might have that mentality. Like, if I did something for somebody, they owe me. That's not me. So it's more of just, but it's just like taking like this learning stuff as far as like with more of a business mindset too, like for doing like artwork, if it is going to be something that's sold, like I don't know, it's just different. And too, like I think a lot of artists, they sell their art when they're first beginning very, very cheap, even if it's skilled art, just because they don't understand their like own skill level. Or like, it's not they don't understand it, but they don't realize that like their skill is actually like really good, like and they're already at a very high skill level, But like, how do you know if you're just kind of, I don't know. That happened kind of to me personally. Like I got into art when I was younger, and then I had a few teachers that taught me like really good techniques to get
Mm-hmm.
decent at art, where I was really happy with the stuff I was doing. But I didn't realize the value of my art. And like I had somebody that offered me $300 for a
Right.
painting that took me 40 hours to do, and I almost sold it.
Oh wow.
And I was stoked at the time because I was like 15 years old, and I was like, $300
That's a lot of
for a
money.
painting as a 15-year-old,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a ton of money.
But
Yeah.
that being said, it's like a 16 by 20 oil painting that took me 40 hours, and I had it just because I was like curious. I asked an art teacher that I took a painting class from. I brought it in, and I said, like, what would that go for at like if I were to sell it as an art piece? And the price that they told me, I thought was like, I thought they were like lying to me.
Impossible.
It was
Yeah.
not $300.
Right.
We're talking about the piece, like they basically told me that the piece that I have that is like, it's equivalent to what people that have been doing it for 30 years, and they charge like closer to like $4,000, $5,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, oil, and that's the thing too. A lot of people don't realize what art, like going rates for art is like. And true, that is a gallery price. So I mean, like if you sell it at a gallery, a piece that's like 4,000 or 5,000, you're only gonna get half of that.
Right.
But it's still, it's kind of like a wake up call to be like yeah, somebody's gonna pay me $300. That's awesome, but the actual value of the art, because you're not just selling your painting, you're selling the skill.
Right.
So yeah. But yeah, at the same time too, there's a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's its own personal beliefs and all that goes into it as well. So it's like everybody's gonna have different things. There's no wrong answer. It's just, but there is, I think when there's more knowledge of that, and that it's like a reality of like, oh yeah, that is what like kind of more of a standard rate is. It's a lot easier to understand like how to price things and do it from a perspective of like growth rather than just being like, I can make a little bit of money here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So. Yeah, well, just out of curiosity, with your art like career, like when did you get into really doing art like really passionately?
So I've always like drawn since I was a child. That's like kind of always been there. I was never really good, but it's just something that I like to do. Um, but a couple years ago, I think like 6 years ago or something, I started taking it more seriously when I started streaming, and then I think it was like 4 years ago. I think that's like when I met you as well. I was doing it 2 hours a day every single night from 11 till 1 a.m. Like regardless how I felt, which was incredible. Now I'm doing like even more every night, which I think is amazing. But that's when I started taking it more seriously because I saw my skill improving, and I always have like a firm belief that the more time you spend doing anything, you'll improve regardless how good or bad you think you are. Like no matter what, that's just the rule of life. And so I the reason I even started doing art, I guess technically more seriously, not really, but like the thought of it was there, was back when I used to play like World of Warcraft in I think it was like 2008 or something, or no, it was like 2006. No, it was 2008, and I was in college and I was skipping classes to play World of Warcraft, and I was like really good at WoW. Like I was known on my server. I know this sounds like super conceited, but everybody knew who I was because I was just that good. This was way back. It's irrelevant now. But I was like, oh, I spend all this time skipping classes, playing this stupid game because it's like so important to me. What if I put it into a skill that actually mattered, into like something that had like worth? Because World of Warcraft I don't find has worth.
Yeah,
So
it's different. I
yeah,
get you on that because
yeah.
I played a little bit, not like, and I have friends that got like straight up like, I mean they
It's like a drug.
spent years,
It's like a
years.
really bad drug that you can't kick
Yeah,
because
it can be.
it makes you feel like you're getting some kind of like value or satisfaction out of your day because you grinded out this item, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I was like, oh, what if I did this with art? And that was kind of like the inception of like becoming an artist professionally. But I still didn't do anything with that because playing a video game has no like skill to it in terms of like sitting down at your computer and playing something. Like anybody can do that. That's why like mobile games make so much money. Now sitting down and like having the discipline to like work on something that you're bad at continuously, and that never stops. Like you'll always be quote unquote bad at art because you'll always be running into a new wall that helps you improve. You're always going to be improving at the skill. So it's very different. But I think part of art that people don't understand is like so valuable and important is the discipline that comes with it. Because it's not just like, oh, I'm drawing every day and like now I'm good at drawing. It's like, no, now you're good at managing your time. Now you're good at like running into problems and then solving those problems. You're becoming more disciplined with these difficult things in life, and like when you don't get enough likes on this thing that you worked really hard for, do you give up? No, you try again, you keep going. And so it's like it's perseverance too. There's like so many things that come along with it that help refine and like shave down those like rough edges on every individual, which I think is so important.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's a huge process. I definitely say that. It's definitely like you're saying, like with World of Warcraft, though. It kind of makes me think of like, what is this game? Oh, what is the game? Pet Simulator. Have you played Pet Simulator or heard of it?
No, is that new?
Oh my goodness, it's newer. It's a Roblox game. Somebody told me try it. I'm like, that's a game for like
For
the youth.
babies. That's a game
I'll
for
try it.
babies. Yeah.
I'll try it. We'll see what it's all about.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you, I played the game for like 20 hours in 2 days time.
I'm gonna look
And
this
I
up.
didn't even know, like I was doing it while doing other stuff,
Hmm.
like albeit. So I was editing and I was like sitting there doing like, like doing the grind, doing the little mission things, doing the like tapping on the screen on this hand while doing something.
Oh no.
But it was so bad. Like, and
That's
I
so
realized
funny.
that,
It's
like,
like
hold
super
on.
addictive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally like that. Like it's geared and engineered to make you just keep playing and playing and playing and playing.
Right.
But I think at least like it's like good to like be able to be aware of that, because if you're not, and I feel like it's so like manipulative for little young people
Of
that are
course.
playing the game. There's no real skill learned from it. It
Right.
probably causes long-term like arthritis, because I'm telling you, my
You're
wrist,
clicking, yeah.
my wrist was tingling numb after doing it for 2 days for like a week straight, and I was
Yeah.
like, why is my? And I look up and it's like that's like the beginning signs of like arthritis type stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's not good. So
It's
I'm
so
like, yeah,
colorful too. It's like
super
it's so like
colorful,
visually
and then you pay
stimulating.
money. You have
Yeah.
to pay real money to
No.
get like the big. Yeah, so people spend like hundreds and thousands.
Oh
of
my
dollars.
gosh.
But
No,
no, I
that's
deleted it. I was just like, no way.
that's
So,
big business, baby.
but World of Warcraft is like that times X, and it was like in a time when it was like nothing had been out like that, and it
Right. Exactly.
Just, so it's like nobody really knew. But
Everybody
yeah,
played World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and I played it very little, but I just got tired of like waiting on friends that would like take forever to come, and then we would sit an hour, and I'd just be sitting there waiting for people to join,
It's so
like a
true.
raid. And then
Yeah.
like what was the other thing that? Oh, just like after a while, it was like I felt like I think I was getting depressed from playing it, and I only played it for like 3 months.
Right.
Like I just got like so, and I started playing Halo more and got more like.
Halo's good though.
I enjoyed that. I mean, and I feel like Halo has more skill based.
It definitely is.
Hand-eye coordination, like there's strategy, there's like, I guess there's a lot of strategy that goes into World of Warcraft too. I can't say it doesn't have to.
There isn't.
A little bit, but a lot of it is just the grind. Like there's a little bit of like strategy that has to. I mean, if you put like, it's the same thing as that the Pet Simulator. It has a little bit of strategy, and that's what I liked about it. Like I felt like I was like doing it so fast and I was so good, but then I realized like there's so many other people doing the same thing. It's not really like that. Like,
None of this is real.
yeah, I don't know. It was weird. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm not playing that game anymore. And World of Warcraft, I mean, it's cool. The one thing that really threw me off to World of Warcraft back in the day though was the graphics on the box, and the like videos were always like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be the best game ever. And then you play it and it's like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it looks so doo-doo.
Yeah.
It's kind of charming though. It's like the game you're talking about. It's very aesthetically like comfortable, and the colors are all there. I do think without a doubt.
It sounds like casino slots when you play Pet Simulator, because
Yeah.
the whole time you're
Oh
collecting
my gosh.
these coins and
Oh
different things
no.
and it has the.
It's like a psyop or something. It's like integrating kids into gambling.
Yes, it has that same, because like you know how people do the gambling machines, and they like slot
Yeah.
machines. And,
Yeah. It's like
and they
a
add those same things,
torture
and it
chamber.
stimulates you into like each time you win, you want to play more and more and more and more.
You're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah. To be fair, you actually get real money in gambling though. But I guess to kids, new pets
most
is real
people lose
money.
though.
Yeah.
And it's something I'll say with gambling, like too. Statistically, the the numbers always favor the house.
Right. They have to.
So
Otherwise,
like,
it wouldn't be a business.
yeah, but there's some people they're like, no, it's fun. I'm lucky. I'm a lucky one. It's like,
No.
all right, you're lucky. You're the special one. You're the main character. You're gonna.
I mean, to be fair, I went to Vegas one time and I came out with like $400 extra. So I'm just saying, maybe there is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would never ever say gambling's like worth it.
I've only gone to Vegas one time.
Same.
And I had 100. And the reason why I came out with money is because I didn't fall for their scam.
Yeah.
Which part of it is they involve like adult beverages that then can make you like
loosey goosey. Yeah.
Yeah, and make you not be able to think properly.
Right.
And but I went to one slot machine. I put $100 in. It went down to like $70 after doing a few turns, and then it went up to like $500.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just playing for a while, and it went down to like 300. Then it went up to like 700. And then when it went up to 700, I was like, I walked in here with 100 and $700. That sounds pretty good. I pulled out the money, and I didn't play any more for the whole weekend, and I just went to shows and like enjoyed myself.
That's what I did too. Yeah.
But the thing is, most people
they can get out of debt. They can finish their credit card bills. You know, they can pay rent. Like that's the idea in their head. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But most people, what the most mentality is if you walk in with 100 and they know this, especially with nowadays, is like if you're a newer person, that's how they hook people. So they actually will purposefully give you a decent win in the beginning.
Yeah.
And most people will go, oh, with the mentality of I came in here with 100, I'm just going to spend it.
Right.
And I'm going to keep gambling it.
Right.
And the person that I was with did that, and they ended up like negative like $1,000 for the week.
Right.
Or weekend that we were
I think there's a parallel to, I don't know if it's the same terminology for it, but like in business it's called a loss leader, where like you purposely lose money to get somebody invested into your like product or business. Yeah. And so it's like something like that. Yeah, exactly.
They have the chickens at the back of the store that costs like $5 or $6.
Yeah,
or
they lose money on it. Yeah.
They lose money every single sale, but they get people in there on a weekly or bi-weekly basis buying those chickens, and they're not just buying that; they spend $100.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, they're losing money to make money.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. But I kind of knew that going into the thing, and I was like old enough. I think I was like 23 or 24 the first time I went.
Yeah. Right.
And I just was like, I wasn't really going there to make or lose money. I just thought it was fun, and when I saw that, I was like, dang, I'll just take this money. And I did.
Yeah. Take it and leave.
I would never go back. I think one time when I was 18, I did gamble on like a cruise ship.
Oh.
And I lost money.
Oh no.
Like, I was with my dad, and like we were gambling, and like I think I got up to like, I want to say like a couple $100, and I was stoked at the time. I was just like, yeah, I'm making money. And I started with like $20 on like roulette or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up like, I think I played for hours, but I walked away with like no money. I spent, like probably like $30, and I walked away with none.
Right.
But it was a good learning experience. I will say gambling, it is always statistically in favor of the house, though. Like overall.
I mean, it has to be.
Money.
It is a business.
There's a reason why they're in business. Like they're not closing doors. You don't see casinos go out of business very often.
Right.
Same thing with Costco's.
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen a Costco go out of business in my whole life.
Or a Sam's Club. There used to be something called Kmart. No, there's still like a few Kmarts, but it got taken over by Walmart, I think, for the most part.
I have no idea what happened to Kmart, but yeah, Kmart like was one. There's a few of them, but they're like very weird stores to go in.
Yeah, they're not the same. Yeah, it's crazy how over our life, like businesses have completely changed into like something else, and it's not going to end there. Like, it's just what we've like noticed the most from our childhood, but our parents had been going there before we were born, and so over that like 2 decade or whatever from the parents to us being born, those stores shifted into like what is new. And so that'll continue again in like the next 10 years. It already has with like Amazon taking over majority.
I was gonna say Amazon. I think has kind of a market share in like everything now. They're probably the one that will be like the next. Who knows what happens? But it kind of seems to me like at this point, Amazon's just like a like self-eating monster that's just gonna take over everything, including themselves at some point.
Right. You got to be
And,
careful what you say though. The overlords are listening. Amazonian overlords.
Amazon, I mean, probably, but no. I mean, like if you think about it, they've taken over so many different categories of things that like you don't even think of. Like, and I have an Amazon account.
Right.
I got it,
Everybody
and I
does.
actually don't even buy anything on there really. But I
Right.
watch stuff on Amazon Prime, so they're streaming, they're all this different stuff. It's
Right.
they're definitely like, and they've got they were the one company. The reason why Toys R Us went out of business is Amazon
Right.
specifically.
They're gonna try opening up more Toys R Us again. They're gonna open like just a handful to see if
Do you
that's
know
what
who?
people. Huh?
Do you know who and why Toys R Us went out of business?
Well, you said Amazon, right?
Well, it's because you would think that Amazon wouldn't be the one that would have put them out, but or you would think they would, but
Yeah.
the inner side of it of why they put them out is
What?
because they wouldn't make a deal with them.
Because Toys R Us wouldn't make a deal with Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, Amazon was like, hey, you guys are basically the leader in toys. And you
Oh.
always have been for like so many years. Like, how about this? And they basically pitched. This was back in like early 2000s
Right.
when they were first getting going. They're like, how about we take over the online side of it and we partner up?
Oh, they should have.
No, because they would
Oh.
have gotten they if they would have done that earlier on, they would have just become Amazon right away.
Oh, I see.
Versus they maintained at least for a while their own separate thing, and they did it as a company. But no, they if you look at Amazon's history, they've done that to a lot of companies where they want to partner with something, and then once they get control of it, they just take it over.
Right. Right.
And like they'll purposefully do things to like make it so like the retail store will fail and the online will do well.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, Amazon is definitely it's a big. I mean, it's a big thing. So
Right.
yeah, it's like one like 2 years ago, I bought almost everything that I was buying online, and a lot of it I could only find on Amazon.
Right.
Which that was like that was a weird year to get like every like I got a lot of stuff delivered. I remember that was way crazy.
Yeah.
But that is we're here now, I guess. Amazon is
It's here to stay.
well, I mean it's having its problems though too, because they're having to, I guess they used to do like free returns and all that stuff, and there's a lot of people that have been like going off of Amazon lately because they don't have free returns anymore, and they also have like other things where it's like the benefits that you pay for the Prime membership, they're just like kind of like slowly taking away.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's crazy. They're just trying to make more money off of the people that were already invested in it. I think I'm the kind of person who buys copper ore off the market board for 100 gil and sells the extra vendor for 15. What? Pogalatte just talking about like I don't know what there's like a word for that when you buy low sell high, I guess. I don't trust myself at all casinos at a casino. Right. Some people are not good with making those like decisions. But what I was gonna say is I'm waiting for the day when there's Amazon healthcare. I don't know if that's a thing yet. It probably is.
Oh my goodness.
Amazon
Oh,
healthcare.
I don't even
That's when you know when it's all over.
as it already is. It's just like
Yeah.
it's getting weird, man. It's
Yeah.
getting weird.
Right.
I can see that Amazon healthcare. Oh my goodness.
It's that big money, big pharmaceutical, or when they cure cancer, Amazon cancer cure. But then you have like some new disability because of it that you have to pay for at Amazon, or it's monthly fee to like not have cancer. Oh my gosh, this is turning dark fast. This family friendly, child friendly stream has turned into the dark verse.
We'll try and keep the topic. I mean,
no, that's fine. It's fine.
I think it's all kind of like it's just crazy stuff going on, and there always will be. But
right,
like for me, I try and keep things in somewhat like as much as I can. Like I think we're all responsible for our own selves. Like,
we are.
It's the best way to look at it, and like if you really don't like something, like don't support it. Like that's the best thing that I can say. Other than that, it's like it's all gonna there's a lot of outside forces, and there's things that are going on that we all do not have a lot of say in, unfortunately. But
right,
at least as humans, we can all kind of do our own thing and hopefully keep a good head on our own shoulders to not
Right.
hopefully purposefully drive towards going down a bad path, I guess.
Right. A dark future.
A very dark future.
The
Yeah.
dark the
No,
Darkiverse.
oh, there's so much stuff. There's so many like sci-fi movies and stuff that kind of goes into that, and then you're like sitting there like even what is that one movie that is called? It came out in like early 2000, but it's got like
What happens
Owen
in
Wilson. I'm trying to think of the plot is everybody, it's like the future, everybody is very, very unintelligible.
Oh, Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's so much stuff of that where it's already come true.
Well, you have to understand that not a lot of people have these conversations. You would think that they do, but that's only because you have these conversations because either A, you gravitate to people that also have these conversations, or those people around you have these conversations. Because we are a product of our environment as well as like self-created product. So it's like we think that this is like, oh, obviously this is a thing, but we're the minority in that. It's like not a lot of people like this stuff. They like consumption because their life is like kind of pigeonholed into like what their families say, like, oh, this is what you got to do. Like at this age you do this, at this age you do this, you get a job, etc., move on, and that's like pretty normal. Or they agree with whatever the internet tells them to, which is like very common and annoying, but you know, it's fine either way. People live their own lives. Like they don't have to do anything that they don't want to.
No, well, I'll just say, if anybody has not seen the movie Idiocracy, watch the movie, because it's just like, and it'd be interesting to actually have somebody watch it that like now.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to see what their opinion is on it, because it's like almost like, I wonder if they're watching, they'd just be like, yeah, that's like an everyday life. Like this is a
You're like, this is
like,
normal. Yeah.
This is real. This is reality. Like,
yeah.
But at the same time, like that movie got so many things that are going on now.
Right.
Like,
Correct.
I thought the whole movie was just like a whole play. That's why I thought that movie originally, when I saw it, was the worst movie ever. Like,
wow. Like,
well,
I think most people knew it was like kind of on point. Like they knew it was kind of like, yep, this is like literally where the world's headed. But that's funny. That's funny.
And it was like, this could happen, but it was like, I never thought it would get to that point.
Right.
And we're kind of on the brinks of it. And I mean, even down to the footwear that I'm wearing right now.
Right.
Not by choice, but because like essentially consumerism, but I'm wearing Crocs.
Right. Right. Because they're comfy. They're super comfortable.
Yeah.
And they're simple. They're easy. It's like, it's just the simplest thing you can do. Also the what is it? It's the Brondo, I think it's called, or Bruno. It's the energy drink they have because it's got electrolytes. Like, think of, apparently, I didn't know this was like a real thing, but South Park did an episode on it as well, where kids have like these they're not energy drinks, they're like Gatorades or whatever. I think there might be some caffeine in it.
It's Prime.
But oh yeah, Prime. Thank you. That's
not the name of it in South Park, though. It's called
it's called something else. But my buddy, my buddy, his sister, or his like half sister, like has this stuff. Like that's how universal it is. Like I didn't know that in elementary school. Like all the kids have this, and they're all drinking. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
You know whose company that is?
Who? Logan Paul.
The one that got in trouble a while back for.
It wasn't one of the Pauls. I'm surprised.
Jake Paul, or one of the Paul, yeah.
Oh, it is. It's probably Jake Paul. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
South Park, it's cred. That's what
it's
called.
Oh yeah. You gotta get your cred. Yeah.
All the kids are gonna think I'm cool if I have the cred.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like that, like group thinking kind of like, and you just see it and you're just like, but yeah, Brondo is. Before South Park even made that episode, I was like, that Prime is Brondo.
Yeah, right.
And,
that's so funny.
Well, and the other problem is that I've noticed is like you said, like I'm probably am one of the more like thinking about this stuff and not just going along with societal just because it's a norm.
Right.
I'm more of someone just to think about like what are the implications of this, like, and a lot of people they'll they'll even put me down for it, like including like family members. Oh, you're
Oh,
always
that's
so
weird.
thinking so deeply, and like, but I've also learned that that's like something that you have to like really be aware of, is like when you have people saying you're thinking so like too deep or you're too sensitive, that's like stereotypical gaslighting. Like it's literally like somebody that's going to say like basically you're not going with the norm, like you're
Well,
why are you doing this?
there's a reason for this. So in I don't want to say medieval times, but like prehistoric, not prehistoric, like ape human times, right? We had these like groups of people that lived on these like little villages, right? Like Indians, you know, they have their tribe, and it's like tribal mentality. That's what it's called. And it's like, oh, this person isn't like us in this tribe, and that could at that time that could be a threat to the tribe, because you can weaken a tribe from the inside at a time of like war, and war was like all the time. You're fighting animals, you're hunting for meat, things are like literally dying so that you can survive. That's like the regular, including other people, because there's only so much food in an area. And so because of this, it's like, oh, somebody's different. We can't have that because we are one unit, we're one body. And like we have to work this way. And so if something got a little weird, then it's like, all right, get out of here. Like we don't want that. And so you have that now, that same mentality of like, you know, this thing's a little different. We don't like that because that's not the same as us. But because time is, I want to say time is speeding up in the way of we are now connected on the entire world the first time ever in the entirety of the human race, which is an irregularity. And so now because your brain seeks this kind of information, this like, oh, that's weird. Oh, that's interesting. I want to study that. Oh, I can learn programming. I'll study that. That's like not something that ever existed within the last even like 20 years. You have to think about that. Within the
Yeah,
last like, we'll say like 12 years, because I think DSL started in 2002, which is like fast internet. Fast speed internet didn't exist until like 2008 universally. Like houses
right.
were still connecting to it. And keep in mind, on the entire planet Earth, only about like 2%, I think, of people have fast speed internet. So
That's
like, so it's like you're not only just an irregularity of like, oh, not only do I like information just for information's sake, but I want to study it and know more and more. Like that has never existed in the entire human race, however long you believe that is, based on like your own like, you know, religious beliefs or whatever. um like that is just a new thing. So of course people are gonna be like, no, 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 don't bring that into this house, don't bring that witchcraft in here, you know, this is not normal, you're like an alien. Yeah. So it's just
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
no, I know what you mean, and I think that's a really good point. That like because it didn't exist, and then you kind of base your truths on what works and what doesn't, and what
Right.
does exist. Most people do like it's hard to just create like your own beliefs that are completely new just because like you think about it. Like that's the hardest. Like if you think about it, like if it doesn't exist yet, like
Mm-hmm.
you gotta figure it
Right.
out. Like so, yeah, no, I get you on that.
Right.
And oh, one last thing that kind of makes me think of, and then I really should go on and hop off screen. I don't want to
No
get too
worries.
distracted from your work and
No,
stuff.
you're right.
But the last thing that I was thinking about with that is I won't say names of specific creators because I feel like that's not
It's not
beneficial.
appropriate. Yeah.
Not only is it not beneficial, but it actually is detrimental because once I say a name, people will have a very
Negative
opinionated view
association.
on it, one way or the other,
Yeah.
rather than listening to what I have to say.
Yeah.
But that being said, there are creators out there in this world that use like the idea of money or certain things like giveaways
Mm-hmm.
and giving away maybe even money to poor people to make it like
Oh.
A seem like they're amazing
Yeah.
and B like basically just get a lot of people on their side, and also it kind of gives people like the hope that like maybe they're gonna win.
Right.
I'm sure we've all seen creators like that. At the end of the day, the reality is they're most of them are getting the money from sponsors, so it's not even their money, or they're
Right.
getting the money from previous videos, and it's very much like led YouTube in the big sense. There's a lot of main creators at the top that did that a while back
Mm-hmm.
that are now like considered like the YouTube like legends, and it kind of drives how YouTube works. in a
Oh,
lot of ways.
interesting. Right. What are you saying?
Like,
Is it like a new fad now, or what? Or are you saying it's even
um,
deeper than that?
I mean, let me give an example of it of a channel and a way that it's had effect, and people can have their own opinions on it. But like, for example, like who when you think of like one of the biggest YouTubers, like what comes to your mind? Like as far as like stereotypical ones, not necessarily ones that you're watching, but ones that are just like known by everybody.
Well, there's like PewDiePie. There's
PewDiePie.
also like Moist Critical. Because
Okay.
I know
You
Moist
might not be
Critical.
the right you might not be the right target
I
audience
don't
for
think
it.
I am.
And that's the whole thing too, is the target audience that follows this person started following them when they were very, very young.
Oh, I
Uh,
see.
and they've now grown with the creator 10 years, but the whole time they were being, in a lot of ways,
Manipulated?
manipulated.
Yeah.
But because they're so young, they don't see the manipulation, and they actually are somewhat trauma bonded. So if
Oh,
you
wow.
say anything about this specific creator, um,
Right.
they will attack you.
Oh, wow.
And they'll say that you're doing it for clout, and so there's no way you can actually get the truth out about the person.
Oh, interesting. That's
And
crazy.
I'll DM you so you can kind of look into it if you're curious. But
I
one of the
am. That sounds awesome. I love stuff like this. Not like in a
but
good way awesome, but I love like
no,
these kind of
it's
stories.
really toxic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like so toxic, but it's like, but we have basically this creation of now all these people that look up to this one person because they think they're so great,
Hmm.
and they will ignore every single writing on the wall that shows that this person is just not a good person deep down.
Right.
Because they
What's
and they'll even use like, oh, but they, they give back, they give so much stuff
yeah.
away,
Right.
like mentality, like
Mhm.
even when they do something wrong, it's like the right basically overwrites the wrong for them.
Right. Right.
So, but that being said, a lot of people follow this person, a lot of people kind of have the same mentality, they want to be like this person because they have success. So, and they have not just a little bit of success, like we're talking about like top of the top YouTube type people, and there's probably multiple doing this, but it's one of the top that started doing it first.
Oh, interesting.
Poga, honestly, I don't want to say names, but I mean there might be. You can take your own conclusions on that and see if there's other channels that do this.
Are you,
But
is Poke
yeah,
is what Poke Latte said one of the people? I'm not gonna say it.
I'm not gonna no, I'm not even
Okay.
gonna say that.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I'm not biased on that stuff.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
saying that is, if somebody's doing that at that level, it's so wrong and it's so toxic in the environment. But it has such an impact when that is now manipulating the YouTube algorithm to basically get all the views,
Right.
and all these other creators see that success, and instead of doing what they truly want to do, they start to change their own way of doing things to basically fit that style.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that person never had actual value, they were just manipulating. So when you copy somebody that didn't ever have the actual value and you're just a copy of it, you're not only not bringing value yourself, you're bringing like a copy of a value, which imitation, or the imitation, is always cheaper than the original. So it's basically like a cheaper version of cheap. And
Right. Right.
it's very, very a bad cycle. But I'll say this, Pilfer, you don't have to worry about it. I've watched your stuff. You are not
Yeah, I'm
going
not doing any
to that type
giveaways or
of
anything
creator.
like that. Right.
But it's just to be aware that that is what has been driving YouTube's kind of downfall lately, like for the past
Interesting.
like 3, 4, or 5 years,
Right.
maybe 6 years. And it's just gotten somewhat worse because I kind of had a conversation and I learned the hard way not to mention names because, and at the same time too, like you can think if there's somebody that followed that person for a long time and I'm here now saying this, they're going to look at me as like basically the bad guy.
Right.
I'm not the bad guy. I'm just saying that if somebody's following this thing where they're using manipulation to get people to do that, like just take note, because it's
Right.
like, do not support it. Don't if you don't like it, like don't
Right.
support what you don't like. That's all you can do. So I
Right.
don't support it. I'm not watching
Well, it
it.
reminds me of like people that talk bad about Star Wars, how like they get attacked immediately by people that like Star Wars as if it's like a religion. But I think that is the case with all things, is like people make idols out of stuff, and when you attack their essentially like religious belief system, they get like really zealous about it. And that's like very common throughout human history. That's why I'm like okay being an open Christian, and like if people don't agree with that, that's fine. I'm not gonna be like mad. It's like, of course you don't believe it. We don't believe the same things on most accounts.
Yeah,
But
and
I'm
that's
still
why.
gonna be open with what I care about, because like that's kind of part of my stream, is like this isn't just about art, it's about like the person and the people that are also doing art, like what's important to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that too, like I think any belief system that somebody has is valid, and that's the whole
Right.
thing. Like, I don't want to go into and attack that. That's not my point. My point is
Right.
to do that. So I might make a video on it and like explicitly, not like kind of like the way I, like just kind of explain it to you, like go about it that way of just like pointing out things to look for
Right.
and not say, and people can make their own assumptions, like, and honestly, like, you know, channels that were mentioned, I mean, you can look into them and you can make your own assumptions and then go from there, and just it's more of an educated,
Well,
it's
I
like an
I always thought it was
education.
like kind of like obvious that that was the case because it's like, of course they're only giving money to like their friends, and anytime you bring big bucks on screen, everybody loses their mind because that's the most important thing in the world is money. Before it was food, but there's like a whole like worldwide trade system now, etc., etc. It's the first time in like the human race that food isn't like the only thing that we do now because that's how it's always been, and so now money is the only thing we do now. And so, you know, of course, if you put money up on the screen, free money, especially, people are gonna lose their minds because it's like, oh my gosh, I could have these things that I care about. I could be out of debt. I could pay off my credit cards, whatever. Um, so yeah, it's that's never not gonna be the case until something replaces that and money's irrelevant.
Well, I think though, like with knowledge, like if somebody can have their own knowledge and they can come to their own conclusions,
Mm-hmm.
they can come at a better way of just like, because at the end of the day, like I asked, this was something that happened on stream, and I at that time I did mention the person's name, and I
Right.
asked the people, I said, okay, like take away everything that I've said. What do you enjoy about this creator? Like,
Right.
just look at their content and like, what is it that like you watched? And everybody that was there, even the ones that were like super like mad at me for saying what I said, some of them even unsubscribed from me right away
Of
because I said
course.
something,
Yeah.
and they just left the stream. But
Right.
then the people that stuck around, I just said, hey, like, what is it that you like content wise? Like when you watch it, like, is it the editing? Is it this? And the reality is that they didn't even like the editing. They didn't like the content. Like when they tried
Interesting.
to tell, like they just were, and they even started to realize like the ones that did stick around, they were like, oh yeah, they're like, yeah. Now that you say that, it actually does make a lot of sense. Like that this person's just using manipulation to basically get views, and like their actual content is black up.
Right.
Like they're not bringing anything really to it other than basically going around online saying, hey, I'm doing great things,
Right.
which is kind of like the red flag of anything. Like
Yeah.
if I'm going to go and give away, you know, something genuinely to somebody, the second I go out on social media and tell everybody about it, it kind of is the red flag that just says like, I'm just doing it for clout. Like
Right.
versus somebody who's genuine with giving away something or doing like a good deed, they just do it and they don't think of themselves as a hero. They just do it because it's like they wanted to do it. Like,
Right.
and, I mean, maybe they do get like self gratification. That's fine, but at the same time, like it's not for the clout or to be a good person. So,
Right.
and good people don't have to prove themselves.
Right.
Is what I'll say. Like they do what they do, and
If this is something that you're like really passionate about, why don't you make another like anonymous channel about like how to grow your YouTube channel and also how to like talking about stuff like this because you spend a lot of time like researching stuff on YouTube. Um,
well, here's the thing. So I just recently started doing a lot of, you know, self work and stuff, and I've wanted to talk about this. I've just so long have had like also been in a somewhat tunnel chamber of like I can't voice my opinion on it. I know, and when I brought it up the last time, it was in one of my streams. I ended up privating the stream because, and I didn't actually really say the name people in chat, and I just confirmed, like I said, oh
yeah.
yeah, like that's who it is.
Yeah.
But and that's when people were like you're a terrible person. How dare you say
Right.
that? Like
He does
it's
all
just
this
like,
stuff. He does all this stuff for other people. How could you say that?
yeah, and it's like that's not my like my goal is more educational. It's always been that, and I don't want to be I guess I have, and I get that I have my own biases. I'm a human, so
Yeah.
I don't want to force my biases on other people. I'd rather be doing a very smart educational way where
Right.
it just puts education information out, and
Mhm.
people can do with what they want.
Right.
You'd watch information on these topics. Yeah, I think it's really good. It's good. It's in my opinion, and I appreciate you telling that too, because like I think that gives me a little bit more of like kind of motivation to do it, because I've kind of just been so focus on my art stuff and doing that it's like to make motivational, or not even motivational, but just like kind of like educational on that side. outside of art, I just haven't had a platform. But I think, yeah, making on a second channel would be probably a good way to do it.
Well, I just think it would be like I want to hear your unfiltered take on like a lot of stuff because you're so smart. Like I think it's undeniable how like overly and not overly like very intelligent you are. Like your brain is so big and you consume so much information, filter it down to like the most beneficial parts, and then you like categorize that and then you put it back out. You're like an information machine, and I'm like I want to see what Sticky does like unfiltered without any like chains holding him back. Just like go all in. Like what would that look like? It would probably be so cool and everybody would eat that up because nobody wants to speak up. The only people that speak up about things are and they have like a million enemies. You only know about their enemies, and it's like Ben Shapiro, right? It's like you know, like all these names that are like, oh, that's a bad person, that's this and that. It's like I don't think they care whether or not they're right or wrong, good or bad. I think they care that they have an audience and people always know who they are because it's like they're so unfiltered and they're like they don't care what anybody says. They have a direction and they go on it. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think like on the side note too, like I can do some of this stuff on my art channel that can help artists and
Yeah.
people that are creatives because I think that a lot of it that I've learned from, I mean, I'm human. I've just been going along. I've just, you know, just like everyone, we all like kind of like pile up like data and things that we experiences. And I mean, I'll tell you my background. I started going to school. I worked like almost all my life, like from early age, like 14 half, 15. I was just always working like a job because I always wanted,
That makes sense.
you know, this and that stuff. And I've always just been kind of doing that stuff. But I also realized that that's kind of like an indicator that I found out later is that, you know, I thought my life growing up was perfect because I didn't have any extreme things to deal with, at least in my mind, comparatively to other people.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I realize now that it's like, you know, there were still things that like, you know, whether it be emotional needs or physical needs. And physically, I think I was taking care of everything, and that makes it really easy on that side. But then emotionally, there are things that like I just didn't have growing up that I needed, and everybody's got that. And it's not like my parents
Yeah.
by no means were like bad people or anything. It's just not like I had my own needs that I had, and I didn't even know, like as a younger person, I didn't know how to express what I needed.
Right.
So I learned from that, and I've worked and worked and worked, but I've been in a lot of different variety of things, and it's gotten me. It's always put me into like different things. Like at one point, I was at like bike tech, working at a bike shop. Then I got a job at one point working at Best Buy for years. Like, and I got into originally customer service, and then I did. They put me in like the inventory and like personal shopping specialist. So I've had a lot of like variety in that. And then I went to school for environmental science.
Wow.
On the side, I enjoyed art, so I took as many art classes as I could, graphic design. So I just have a very, I guess it's just varied because I've just kind of like gone like that, and yeah.
Right.
And like I've talked to a lot of people, and I have realized that like that is kind of a thing where a lot of people try a lot of stuff, but not to a point where like, I mean, I went through all school. Like a lot of people that I talk to that are kind of like in a similar category usually stop whatever they're doing, and for whatever reason, for me, I just push through stuff, and I just. So you should run for yo. The honest
I
thing is,
completely agree. You should.
I would love to if I, but I don't. There's a lot of skills on that I don't have, and on the same time, anything like running for office and running for even like local stuff, you need a lot of money.
Yeah.
And me being an artist and doing my thing, I think I have my own things that I can bring to the table, but I don't think it'll ever be directly in politics or anything like that. Because I feel like all the politics people, because of how much money it costs, at the end of the day, if you decide to go in politics, I think you end up becoming, you know, you basically
corrupt.
have no choice but to take money from, you know, this person, that person to basically survive, A, but then B, it's like you're now having to vote on their behalf. Like,
Right. Because that's why the money's there.
And that's part of, you know, I would say everyone look into your own governments wherever you are, like, and I know not everybody's, I'm in the US, I know everybody has a different, but that's something that part of our government system that I necessarily think is like, it's not right, because it's like, there shouldn't be money involved on that sense like that, like the way there is, because it's too easy to manipulate and persuade people to do things that they wouldn't normally. And in a lot of ways aren't good for the like larger group of people, but it's like, oh, big $300,000 pocket or payday, I'll take
Right,
it.
right.
If it means that I have to, vote a little bit differently than I would, and they give up themselves. And I think that's one thing I'm like, I've always not wanted to give up that part of me.
Right.
I'm just not willing. I'm not willing to give that.
You're like authentic to yourself essentially.
And yeah, and the reality is being super authentic like that. Like I know that it keeps me from things. Like I will never be able to truly, like, I wouldn't be able to be in office or something like that. It just
Right.
wouldn't work. I would be the one that would stand up to. I would go against the vibe too much, and I already see that. Like the person who goes against the vibe is, in my opinion, and what I've learned is, if you just go against it and you just do that, you're inefficient with it too, because then now everybody's just against you and they're not even going to listen to you.
Yeah, you gotta learn to manipulate and get what you want.
No. And
That's how it works. That's business, baby.
I don't think you have to ever manipulate, though. I
Oh.
think you just, like, for me, it's like, instead of manipulating, and I've just looked at it like over and over, like thinking like, oh, in the society that we live in, like it almost pushes that, but you never have to. Like you actually don't. Like, and I think that's like, it's not an uncommon thought, because I think a lot of people think of it that way, where it's like, okay, we live in like this world where you have to make money, and once you start doing that, and if you're a person that has a good moral compass, it'll keep you from things like even as artists, I know so many artists that won't charge what they're worth because they feel like they're manipulating people.
Right.
And at the same time, it's like, no, it's called, this is just the price of it, and like that's your own, like yeah, as an artist, like we all have that where we're like, no, it's not worth that because I'd be like taking advantage of or whatever. And it's like, no, it's like, just know, like, you've got your expenses as a human being, and if you want to pursue art full time, you figure out what you need to do to make it. And like, you can try however you want. If you want to start charging $1,000 for your artwork that you previously would only sell for 300 because you just wanted to make it fair and available to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are all choices that people can make, but it's like, I've seen it where, like, even myself, I didn't want to charge what my art was worth because it was like, oh, it's for a family person or a family member.
Right.
Going down that path, it's just, now looking back at it, hindsight 2020, I can just tell you it was a mistake for me, and I think it's a mistake for a lot of people that they have to learn on their own usually. But if I can share my mistakes and people can learn from it, I'm more than happy to as well.
Right.
And one thing, like, do you think art is competitive? Like when you work full time?
So it depends on what you mean by competitive. Do I think it's competitive in the sense of like skilling up and the people around you? Yes. Because there's no way you're going to be an artist and like not compare yourself to others. That's just like the reality of it. Competitive in terms of pricing, is that what you were more meant?
I guess just any form of like is art in general, I guess, like it could be, yeah, with pricing or anything like skills.
Well,
is it competitive? Like,
I think it really depends on like the person, because I think I'm fairly competitive as a person. Like, you remember my root was in like World of Warcraft and being the best at it once upon a time, and so that mentality never stops. That's just like who I am. Beyond that though, I think I mean, I don't know. It's like I do it for fun. I do it because it's like a passion. If I don't like to compete, right? I don't compete with art, but I also like to make sure that I'm a better artist than those around me. So it's like technically competitive, but also not at the same time. Like the only time I would say it's competitive is if I see somebody that also draws that I've known that I was like better than, quote unquote, and they're improving faster than I am. Of course I'm gonna be like, man, I need to step it up. Like I need to like get back in the grind and improve my skill tenfold so that this person doesn't pass me, because that just feels bad. But I think that's like really rare. I don't think that most people are like that. I think most people just draw for drawing's sake. I don't think they want to necessarily what.
well, I think what you're saying hits on like a note of like what I've actually experienced with a lot of artists, including myself at one point. But I've changed my mindset.
Right.
I mean, and my mindset is now like, I think art wise, like think of every single person. We're so unique, right?
Right.
And our best self is going to be better than, in my opinion at least, our best versions of ourselves is going to be better than trying to match somebody else's what they're doing.
Right.
because like we're all different, we all have different paths about it. It's just it's not a good recipe to try and look at others, and this is just like looking at like ourselves as like as a person, like what we're doing skill wise. But when you apply that to art, I feel like it's the same thing. Like our art is so unique if you explore it that way,
Mm-hmm.
versus like think of like your art as an exploration, and like think of like when you go into a piece. Have you ever had a piece where you just start it and you're just going and you're not thinking about anything, and you come out with like a piece that is like nothing you've done before?
Yeah, it's like an exploration of yourself.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
part of it is not duplicatable by
Right.
anyone, like that side of it. And if you allow yourself, I've seen some artists that like they've not ever gone to school, they've never been formally trained, and their art is like no other artist. It's very much a part of them
Yeah.
that is put on, or their expression, I should say. It's not a part of them necessarily, but in some ways it is.
Right.
I mean, it's their expression, it's their what they've come to. But it's just like it took forever for them to figure that out and to go their own path. But I see them now, 3, 4, 5 years, and you don't see the long picture until you follow somebody on follow somebody's art for a long time. This is something new to me because
Yeah.
I before, like, you know, you saw the finished product of the Mona Lisa, this, that. You don't see the process. You
Right.
don't see where the artist came from to like, oh, 3 years later they're doing this. Wow. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but that being said, if every artist that really wants to pursue their own art and become the best them can get to that level, I feel like that's the best recipe for success and beating AI.
Right.
Because then it starts to create original art again, rather than this, like AI is essentially like a mishmash of all these things that, and there's no real rhyme or reason like to why it figured it out. It just did it. It just mishmashed it because it was told to.
Right.
Versus like somebody that's going through there and cognitively thinking, like whether subconsciously or consciously sitting there drawing and going like, I'm going to do it this way because this is why I like it.
Right.
Like if you're able to do that, and no, it's not easy. Like, no, it's not going to mean you're going to find out the best art thing in the world, but for yourself, it's going to be the best art for yourself where you get to. And it's just more of like it's just a different approach that I've had, but it's helped me because like I've taken also two things where it's like, oh, I've seen other people do this style, or like some of the style work that I do, and I've been able to just keep pushing into it on my own complete thing that nobody's ever done before.
Right.
So, and I think that's like, if you think about it, I mean, that's progress. That's not like sticking with what is known.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard thing to battle, but it's like having that initial mindset of it. The art is not necessary. Well, it somewhat is. There is a competition going on, or it is competitive in some realms. Like, at the same time, it doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know. I still think of it always as like in a sea of like blue fish.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's doing something different is the one that's going to stand out in the first place. And the reality is more and more people are getting into doing artwork. So it's like there's going to be a lot more blue fish that are basically these beginner artists that don't really have that, and they have to find themselves. They have to find their own path. And I mean, I'm more than happy to share with mine that I found that following everybody is just it's a recipe for never being able to be seen.
Right.
And
no, I agree. I agree.
Become individual. You're just part of the pack.
Right.
Never be a leader if you always follow in someone else's footsteps.
Right.
Is what Bukalate says. Yeah, no, that is true. I mean, if you're, yeah, it's like if you're always like somebody's like the one doing it and you just follow it, it's like people will always look at the person doing it first as the artist, and then anybody else is kind of irrelevant.
Right.
So, and I mean, I take this from like experience too. Like, I remember, do you know Gox or Vex art?
No, I don't.
Okay, they're two artists that came really, really popular on YouTube. But if you get a chance to look at their art, it's a really cool style art, and it's like doodle style stuff that is like a little bit more. It's like doodle style, adding some, simple stuff like shading and different things, but getting really creative with it and having fun with it, like passionate.
Is it this guy
they
right here?
Yeah. If you want to check it out, man.
He's got like a funky face on his thing, and he does like
they're just fun
film stuff.
It's like different characters, different animal type stuff with I think Gox. Gox, in my opinion, is more what I like, but Vex is also a very cool, like more simplified doodle style.
Yeah, Yeah, this guy's definitely awesome. I could see how you were influenced by this guy, like in every way.
Well, that's the whole thing. So my art style was that before, like
Right.
I was doing this in high school,
It's
and
crazy.
it's like the stuff that most like high schoolers age when you're getting into art and getting better, you're doing because you start to draw what you're into and passionate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can watch his videos. They're very like cinematic. He's got a lot
His
of film
Vex.
skills stuff that he uses for his actual videos editing. He does some really good editing.
Yeah. This is
And
like
his humor,
street art almost. Like
yeah,
almost
but
like
it,
tagging, yeah. This is so
but
sick.
at the same time, like I saw his art and I got inspired, and I was doing a lot of art like for a while that was, what I love to do,
Mm-hmm.
but because it was already kind of like explored to like on his side, like if I do things that are too similar, people
Mm-hmm.
just go, oh, you're just copying. So that's why I really tried to decide, like, yeah, I can still do that style of art, but it's going to be my own thing. Like I'm just going to go on with like whatever, like think of like, oh, I've got like I like frogs a lot, so I made a frog character. Like
Right.
I was like, that'd be kind of cool if I made like a giant frog. And like that's the thing too, like a lot of people don't know this, but like the frog is actually like it's like like my homie frog dog. I don't know. It's like my character's like homie, like my friend, basically.
Your
And it's kind
character.
of
Can you
I made
explain
an
that
original
again?
character of me, and I've
Oh, I
never released
see.
it out there. And that's the original sticky frog drawing is a picture of me that I drew in my like the kind of cartoony doodly style, and
Right.
then I had the sticky frog as its side as like the just like this is my like basically like a pet or like a friend or like it's just his own little like character, but its scale would be like the size of a dog.
Oh, I
So that's
see.
why it
Right.
became a frog dog. But
Right.
anyways, that's where that came from, and I kind of stopped doing a lot of that stuff that I enjoyed because I felt like it was competitive,
Right.
and that if I did, but I realize now it's like as long as I put my own, like I just continue to push my own path, and even if it looks like it for a while that I'm like copying this artist or that artist, it's not. It's just that's something we all share in this world. Is like there's not a way to avoid that at a certain point when you're online. It's like you're always gonna have influence.
Yeah. Right.
We're similar influence, and like honestly, I look at my art. I would say I'm more inspired by. I could tell you the old artists that I'm inspired by, but like
Right.
all of like the Looney Tunes stuff, um, like Mickey Mouse, Mario, definitely like Mario style like
Right.
art and stuff. But yeah, it's just all of that I've kind of compiled, and it's like I'm gonna keep doing that, and I need to just keep pushing on my own thing. And I think if every artist does that, it's like it's beneficial to push on your own strengths and try and improve them.
Right. I completely agree. I grew up watching like a lot of Disney, and so there's always like a lot of animals, and like they're really cute, and they'll have like these different personalities, and then like from there I watched like Pokemon and Digimon, so you can see how like something like Lily Bee or Cotton Pond is like a sentient animal character that has like a whole like life story and personality behind it. It's because it's like I was greatly influenced by like those things, and Fantasia was like one of the like first movies I had when I was like 2, and I would just watch Fantasia like all day. And so like I was really influenced by like those colors, like the very painterly, like expressive colors of like emotions and stuff. So
Yeah,
I see
no,
what you're
I
saying.
can see those
Hmm.
inspirations. Sure, I can see, and I love that movie too. By the way, that's
Yeah.
like one of my all-time favorite, the Fantasia.
Right, right.
But were you a Pokemon kid or Digimon kid?
I was a Pokemon kid, but I will always say Digimon had like was like way more exciting. Because I like that the characters in Digimon expressed emotions more, which is something that's like very intuitive to me.
Dude, I
Um,
knew it. I knew
yeah,
you were a Digimon kid. Don't
yeah,
don't lie. You're a
yeah,
Digimon kid.
yeah. Well,
Dude,
I mean,
love.
Pokemon was first though, so like the adventurism of Pokemon was always like so
Okay.
fun, like being out alone in the world and just like because okay, so I grew up backpacking too. My mom, she when she was in her 20s, she backpacked through all of Europe alone. She just went like, I'm gonna go to
Whoa.
Europe because I like to explore, and she went alone into Europe. My dad's a surfer, bro, so he would be on the beaches all day long surfing with his 11 brothers and sisters every single day. So being surrounded by like all these different personalities and characters is like really intuitive to me. And so, like combining all those things, it's like a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of like exploration. Because I would backpack through Yosemite and Yellowstone. Not Yellowstone, you can't backpack in Yellowstone. But we would like go through Yellowstone. But we'd backpack through Yosemite once to twice a year, every single year growing up. And so like that feeling of being in the mountains, like in isolation, no civilization, and all you have is like the stuff you brought with you. Like that's something that I love. That feeling of like kind of like the self sufficient, uh, not hardiness, like efficiency or like competence, and
Oh,
with all of that, like all those things combined, right? And now you understand like why all my stuff is like, oh, it's about adventure, it's about like friends, it's about like emotions, it's about like these cute characters, right? So you could like break it down, be like, oh, it's literally just you were brought up on these things, and that's what you are now.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you're an accumulation of all of your experiences for sure. Like,
yeah,
and that's like that crazy thing. But yeah, that's interesting though.
yeah,
I can see like a lot of the influences. But the reason why asked if you were a Pokemon or Digimon kid
right.
is because there were a lot of kids that watched Pokemon first, and then Digimon I think came out. I don't. Did it come out later?
Yeah, it came out
Or
much later. It's like a couple
like a
years
few
later.
years later?
Yeah,
Oh, like
because
seven.
they yeah because they made, well, I can look it up. It's because they made Digimon because Pokemon was popular, and they needed something to compete with it. Um,
Well,
how
see, that's why
long?
I never ever even watched one episode of Digimon because I just felt like it was like a cheap knockoff of Pokemon.
Yeah, right.
I never watched one episode, but then I watched it more recently. And I was like, this actually is not bad. Like this is like, in a lot of ways, I like it a little better. But
Yeah.
as a kid, I would have never gone into it just because I was into Pokemon like at
Hmm.
first. And so Pokemon, it was like it's too similar for me, and I was just like, well, Pokemon is clearly the supreme because it came first, and Pokemon like the game. Oh man, I love Pokemon the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's interesting. That's really interesting though that you
I get,
actually.
well,
If
I
you don't mind me
guess.
asking,
Yeah. Go ahead.
are, I'm trying to think. Are you like about the same age as me? I'm in my.
I think we're the same age. We'll leave it at that. I think we're
Okay.
like
Okay.
maybe a couple years
Yeah.
apart. I don't like
Yeah.
putting
I
ages
didn't
on
want to ask.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't want to
Yeah.
have specifics. To it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just figured. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to think of like if growing up wise, because I was like, for me, it's like I couldn't really remember, but I thought Pokemon, at least like the TV show when I started watching it, versus like Digimon was only like 2 or 3 years difference.
Right. But it's funny
But
because I also thought the same thing about Digimon, where I was like,
awesome.
oh, this is just like a cheap ripoff of Pokemon. And I remember being at the beach and my friends like, oh, it's pretty cool. There's like essentially they all have their own Pokemon and then they fight other Pokemon instead of each other. And I'm like, that sounds dumb. That sounds so stupid. And then like I watched and I was like, oh man, this intro song slaps so hard. Oh my gosh, I got so into Digimon. It was great. But um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pokemon's
But
cool
it's
though.
interesting. I mean, it's interesting because like I think a lot of people that I've talked to too, like that are Pokemon people,
Hmm.
they were into Pokemon first and they've never. But then the people that were in Digimon, they weren't really that big into Pokemon in the first place.
Right,
But then they watched Digimon and they were like, I like this, and they vibed with that. So
right. Hmm.
yeah. Well, I thought of one last thing that I think I'll close out. And I'll,
No
I'll
worries.
want to stream. I do want to stream today, and
Yeah.
I also you're working on this beautiful masterpiece.
Oh,
And
thank you.
honestly, it looks. I mean, you're the artist. You know when it's done and all that stuff. But it looks
Yeah.
so good.
Thank
It's
you.
looking like very very good.
Thank you.
I
I
like how
appreciate
much
that.
I like what I like. I think the most when I popped in here was how much the characters were very like prominent, and then you had like the fuzzy background. And
Yeah.
it like really made everything just like kind of like have a vibe to it, but it also has more of like focus on the characters. But this even
Right.
just like the background. Are you planning on doing like a night and day different like backgrounds?
I don't know because it clearly needs to be nighttime because of the lighting, so I should keep it like that. But when I make the background white, like very bright, it like kind of washes out. I don't know. It kind of feel like it kind of washes out the appeal of like the characters popping out so much. And
Yeah.
so I'm following more recently as an artist like my gut feeling instead of like believing that if I think on it more, maybe I'll like learn something or like know better. It's really like I'm an artist. Like it's all creative. It's gut feeling. So you just kind of go with the flow. And instead of stopping myself and like reworking things into oblivion is what I normally used to do. I'm just like gut feeling says this. Trust your gut feeling. Like you're clearly an expert on this now. Like just keep moving forward. All right. So night works better. We're going with night. Needs like a headlight source. Headlight source is in there. It's like, cool, moving on.
Something that I've been doing with my artwork like this with layers,
Yeah.
digital stuff,
Hmm.
because you have the availability to do it, is I started playing around with like different colors, and being able to do that, it just allows more, like you're allowed to explore more. But if do you
Right.
do your highlights and different like what would they call it, like secondary lighting on a separate layer where you can then go and change the, like whether it be more like a blue or cold versus warm?
The highlights
Yeah.
I tend to do last, which kind of helps
Okay.
round everything out. The
I mean
sha-
lighting, I guess I
well,
should say.
well, yeah, I do like the base colors first, and then I do like the shadows on top of it. But something that I learned like a year ago, but I haven't been really consistent in utilizing is all shadows are the same, like darkness or value of like darkness. And it's because the light source is the same. Like unless you change
Right.
the light source in a scene, the shadows will change because of that new light source. But because it's based off the universal light source, which is just like, I forget what the word is. It's just like kind of normal light, like the sunlight. Like the shadows aren't going to be darker just because, like in one part or one character than another. It's always the same shadow, like depth, unless
Yeah.
it's in between two things where light literally can't travel. So like underneath your chin maybe, or in a wrinkle in clothes, you'll have like a much darker light. Otherwise, the light is always the same, and as well as the highlight is always the same. So I try and keep those more tied together to make it look more cohesive. Otherwise, your shadows will be all over the place.
Right, right,
And
right.
also, blue is the main color for shadows because blue is the color that travels the furthest. So at nighttime, the reason everything looks more blue tinted, like with our human eyes, is because there's so little light reaching the earth that blue, since it's the main color that like makes it the furthest, that's the one that reaches. That's the only reason behind it. There's not like some other thing. It's like if light goes into water, because blue travels the furthest, when you're underwater, things look blue. That's it.
Right.
Red gets pulled out the first. I'll show you right now. I could look it up. Light
No, no, I know it's
traveling.
no,
Yeah,
and I think maybe for people in chat if they're curious, but the reason
yeah,
why I just said, asked about the layer thing, because I started doing this is
yeah.
especially when I'm doing like mock-ups for people that I do commissions on, where I want to be able to show them two different versions and do it fast.
Yeah.
Is I have that value layers, because you have your highlights where you're gonna have the highest, brightest stuff is gonna be on the top stuff, or things that hit the light first,
Mm-hmm.
and I just do that as a separate layer, and it's like it's that, and then I have like my shadows separately. But what it
Right.
allows me to do is I go with a mask over it, and I'll go the whole like that super highlight, and I'll mask the whole thing out, and I'll just change that whole thing to like whatever color I want to match for the environment. So if I do a
Right.
blue background, I can do, that, or even if it's like a sunny day where I can do warm blue lighting,
Mm-hmm.
but typically I'll do like more of like a yellow lighting or something like that. But
Right.
but doing on the different layers, I just found that I could do it within seconds and look at how I like it better. And
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of like digital art, is just you can do that in the layers. But I've been actually implementing that, and it's like it allows so much more like just playing around with stuff so fast, and it's just like it's nice, because before it's like if you start a piece, traditionally or even digitally, unless you know what you're doing with the layers,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you kind of get stuck with whatever you started with.
Right. No, I agree. That makes sense. And I do think that's smart to like try out different things because it also teaches your eyes like what you like the most and what's the best.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
for like this one where you've got a really really good solid base. I mean, you could literally have two versions of it, and that'd be kind of cool too, where it's like night and day,
Mm-hmm.
and you have two final
Mm-hmm.
where they're like next to each other, like, and like doing that different like thing. I mean, it's a really cool comparison too. I think for like even if you wanted to show it to people that are in here, and like kind of explain some of the lighting stuff like you're saying. Which lighting, I feel like it's one of those things where it's simple, but it's a little hard to explain.
Yeah.
but But I think in general, it's like you've got your source light, and then you have all the other like atmospheric light. You have bounce light. You have like different things like that play into it.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, your art, like, I mean, you know that. So, did you have any formal training with like lighting and other art things like that, or do you pretty much just went
Zero.
went
I
into it?
just I just taught myself like year by year just by drawing all the time and like I want to know more about this. I want to study this and like information will find its way to you because you're looking for stuff. So if you hear something, you'll like kind of like save it in your brain.
Okay,
Yeah.
right on. Yeah. So you've done a really good job of self-teaching, because there's some people that really don't grasp a lot of this stuff, and they don't.
Right.
Like, I look at your stuff, and like I think you, in a lot of ways, are a lot more advanced in the lighting, especially with that style of this stuff. Like, for me, it takes me a while to get the lighting stuff, but you have a very,
Right.
yeah, you have a very good understanding of that, which is cool. But and you didn't have formal training. It's
Yeah.
just
Thank you.
kind of learned and just did it.
Right. Right.
Which not everybody does that, because I have a friend that I try to point him in, and then it's also like, I don't want to be like pushing him and saying like, oh, it's like making it so he thinks he's doing like bad art, or
Right.
like, it's like just trying to like give him like things, and it's like I've just found I can't say anything with him. I just like kind of just appreciate his art and like let him go on his own journey. He's also like, 10 years into animating, he's gone to school for it, and he still is like he's at his own things, and so I think everybody's at their own thing, and not to push on it, but
Yeah.
just,
Well, some people don't like being reminded that they're not as far as they feel like they already should be. So it's like
right.
you gotta kind of know who it is you're talking to, because I, I
Yeah,
I have I have friends like that too, where it's like I can't show them my art because they feel like their art isn't up to par with mine. They can't compliment mine because it means that theirs is bad. And it's like, no, I would love to teach you how to be like mine, or like how to draw the same quality I do. But because you can't recognize that mine is good, because you feel like yours would be bad if that's the case, because it creates a contrast,
ooh, you're
then
making a really good point here on
yeah.
something too. So, not to cut you off, because
No, you're good.
keep going. Sorry, I just
No,
I'll
go ahead.
keep.
I want to know.
Okay, so shorts wise, you know how like shorts are very much like a short mindset. It's like
Hmm.
it's like instant gratification. So I've personally found that when I do stuff that's very skilled things on the shorts, it tends to do pretty bad comparatively to the stuff where I just do simple.
Right.
And I started realizing too that like if you build up, like I had built up all these like simple things because I was just doing them for fun and they were just quick and simple,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really go with my skill level. Like, it was undercutting my own skill. But
Hmm.
I accumulated all these people that basically think I'm like more of like a beginner to medium skilled artist,
Yeah.
and I realized that I wasn't trying to do that, but it happened. And then when I put out my nicer art, I had all these people that were in the art community that were like, they would comment on all my videos. They loved my art, and it was similar to theirs. It was relatable art.
Hmm.
And then once I show like something that's like takes me like 6 months to do and all my skills, they won't even comment on it. They won't even say anything. They stop like coming and watching my videos. Like, they won't come to live streams anymore. And I mean, we're talking
Right.
about like a good percentage of people that were coming that were like regulars. Yeah, a
Right.
lot of other people do, but it's just I've noticed that. And then like I went to one of their streams, and somebody said like in chat, they were like, to this person, they were like, yeah, Sticky Art's art is amazing. He's like, he can do reels, and like that, like it feels good to like be,
Appreciate it.
somebody like knows skill and appreciated. But then the feedback was like basically like the person on stream was just like, you could tell they were either envious or jealous, or like that they weren't at that skill level, so they didn't want
Right.
to even like validate it. They ignored all those comments, and it was just like,
Right.
but when I saw that, I'm like, okay, it's making a lot more sense. And then like what you're saying, it totally is that with like a lot of artists, unfortunately,
Right.
that are more on the entry level, because it's like all the stuff I'm learning, that's like, and I'm now at a point where I'm like, I know my skill levels, but I don't think I'm the best artist in the world. I know there's so many other artists that are very, very talented, skilled, all that stuff.
Right.
But it's like, I also realize that it's like, that doesn't mean I shouldn't create art and do what I want just because there's other people that can do it. It's like
Hmm.
it's like having that like idea of that it's competitive. It will stop the creativity so much, and it's just like it's so detrimental. So
There it is, the
hopefully I can,
competitive nature that we talked about earlier.
yeah, well, and it's I mean it's all different. At the same time too, competition can actually lead to progress as well,
Right.
but it's not going to be the same type of progress. It's going to
Right.
be very directed into um, like what it's defined by. I mean, if you have a competition, you have to have rules. You have to have all these things that you have to follow
Right.
to be part of the competition. Versus like in art, as an artist, you can just go do whatever you want.
Right.
I mean, well, actually, not even to a degree. I think the more you can like take that like limitation that's put onto us by everything around us.
Mm.
It's like you kind of just explore what you want and what you want to do, and and if you have the financial ability to do it, like if you have another job,
Mm-hmm.
you get to do that. Versus the people that are trying to do art for a job, they have to kind of meet the expectations of people.
Right. Yeah, it's difficult because it's like essentially it would be saying not only do I have to start drawing more for these people, it would also be saying like here's other things that you're also not doing as well, like enough. So to even recognize like one thing would be to recognize a lot of other flaws that they see in themselves. And so it's like unfair for them, and then it's unfair for you because it's like they probably do want to appreciate the work that you do, but then it's like they can't. And so you lose out, they lose out. It's just like not good.
Yeah.
But a lot of artists, because also that when they do get recognized finally, they have to like, if you're as competent as them, we'll just say, then they also don't want to recognize that because they don't want that now that they finally are where they want to be, that somebody else is already there. You know, it's like oh, that's unfair to me that this person just walked up out of nowhere. Like, where were you all this time?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way: I'm on social media platforms, and it's not just art related; it's also social media. My mindset when it switched over to this non-competition is when I started doing successful.
Yeah,
because I basically broke all the rules of like that I had to follow, and I just did what I found, and I found what worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody were to duplicate exactly what I did, I don't know if it would be successful. I can't say that. I don't know.
But if they probably not. I don't think they would have the same work ethic as you.
Well, if they did it on their own terms of like doing it with the mentality of I'm going to do what works for me, I think that doesn't guarantee success, but at least there's potential.
Mm-hmm. And
at the end of the day, like, so say you're not successful on social media and you're still doing it for yourself, you're going to have growth from it still that you're going to gain from.
Right.
Unless of course you just do it like it's like I'm just doing it for the views, and I like and that's the whole thing is I think there's a lot of people that they think with the mindset of trying to get views and getting their art out there rather than just growing as an artist.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, you like I think the people in the chat are saying I don't want a top spot in the rankings ladder because then I'll have to defend. Well. Yeah, kind of, but
you're not wrong. Yeah.
No, but here's the thing, like, so I'm now at a point where like I've got the shorts channel that has a lot of subscribers. I mean, it's one of the higher ranking shorts channels in general. Just, I mean, it's up there as far as like how many views. Last month it got 30 million views. Just last month. And that being said, there's going to be a lot of people that might come at you and do this and do that, but I've never had to defend myself against anybody. I mean, people have said things, they've done things, they'll come in chat and they'll say like, your art is bad or this, and I actually choose not to defend myself because I don't think I need to. Mm-hmm. I've already validated myself. I've already gone down my own path. I know what I'm doing and I know that it's genuine. And for me, it's like, if I dig into that and I do try and defend myself and, you know, have something that comes in that says your art's terrible or you're doing this or not, it validates their whatever they're saying more so than being able to defend. And it actually is like, I don't know, that's just my opinion on it, but I feel like
I think you're right.
Just doing yourself, you don't have to defend yourself either.
Right.
And the people that are going to attack you and do that, like, they're not your homies, they're not your friends in the first place, they're just jealous.
Yeah, well, they're not even they're probably not even necessarily attacking you because they're jealous. If they were jealous, they wouldn't even be there.
You'd be surprised. I think
really?
A lot of people do attack on that side because of a jealousy, or like they basically feel like if they take down somebody else and like point something out, that it'll give them the shining spotlight for the moment or whatever it is, the validation that they get.
Right.
They're seeking, they're validation seeking basically.
Right.
And at the same time, like I've learned that in live streams, if I just ignore them, wanna know what happens?
They'll disappear.
And they leave within minutes because they're not getting that instant gratification that they want.
Right.
And that's at their level. I mean, that's for them to figure out. It's not for me, but I don't have to deal with it. Like I just go in, But yeah.
Right.
You have a question. How can you compete with yourself? That's a good question.
I think the best way to compete with yourself, honestly, is what did I do yesterday that I could surpass today? And it's like as simple as that. Because obviously you don't want to like destroy yourself over trying to produce, right? Like you want to keep a healthy schedule and stuff. But let's say you missed like drawing for a day. Well, can you draw even like 2 minutes more than the day before, etc., etc.? And then just be like consistent with that. It's like, well, what did I do yesterday? It doesn't even have to be art related. It could be like, oh, I didn't work out. Okay, well, you can keep doing art the same way. Maybe it was 10 minutes a day. Awesome. And then you could also like work, you could do like 10 push ups. Anybody can do 10 push ups, hopefully. And it's like, oh, cool. I could do 11 the next day and then 12 the next day. And then once you get to a point where you think that's enough, you could also like clean one drawer in your room or like one corner of your room. And it's like it doesn't all have to be the same thing because there's only so much energy that you can put into stuff, so much willpower, right? So if you can't do that, then I would also say like, have you tried resting? Like, can you rest a little bit more today than you did the previous day? Can you like get 10 more minutes of sleep? Can you wake up 10 minutes earlier and go to bed a half an hour earlier? Like change things up and just you're competing with your previous self like in the same way you would in a racing game, right? You beat the lap in like 15 seconds. Can you beat it in 14 seconds this time, right? Something like that. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, and for me, like I still think it's like I'm trying to think. It's like, am I competing? Like that's the whole thing. The competition, once you're not competing against others and you're not comparing yourself against others, like, and you get that rid of that. Like for me, it's like I don't even think of it as competition. I think of it more of a like, because competition means there's an end goal. Like,
Right.
it just means there's that, versus the mentality that I have is, and it's helped me, is more of a progress of just like, okay, I liked that and I like the way that looked. I'm gonna try that again. I didn't like that. That maybe I'll put that aside. I'm not gonna try that style or do. But it's just like learning from yourself, basically. Like learn from
Right.
your failures. And that's the biggest thing I've seen with artists is like we all have that like anxiety or that feeling like we don't want to try something if we know we're gonna fail or if we think we're gonna fail. But with art,
Right.
if you just go into it with the process of like I just want to explore, it's
Right.
really hard to fail. Like and you just have more of an adventure. It's more of like just figuring things out, and
Yeah.
that way you're not getting so much stuck. But at the same time too, like I still get my hangups where like I get to places where I'm like, well, what else can I do? And when I get to that point, I think the best thing I found is just like trying something new and different that I wanted to, that's not necessarily the same thing, and just trying to push myself like in different ways where it's like going into things that maybe I'm not comfortable with. So like I never, like for the longest time I never wanted to learn how to draw people. And I finally, at one point, I just signed up for class and I did it and I stuck with it and I learned how to draw real people from like all
That's
of these.
awesome.
And I ended up walking out of that class. I mean, I think because I have the other skills that are art wise, that are like visual, like being able to like look at something and put it down, it helped me a lot already. And I was able, after like 2 years of doing life drawing stuff, I can now draw like real people. I still
Right.
kind of let that skill not been grown because I've been in other categories, but I at least have that base where like I can now explore that more. So it's kind of like just trying new things sometimes, just to see. It's kind of like anything. Like if you want to try and find out what you like, you just try different things.
Yeah. Try new stuff.
And if you get comfortable and you find stuff you really like, it doesn't hurt to try it again. It's like if you try like a bunch of different candies and you're like, I really like that one. It means you can always get that one, but you can also go to the store, and if you see a new one that you're like, that one's kind of interesting, it's like try it. Like try new stuff. Keeps it interesting.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's all. I mean, that's, I guess, not necessarily anything about competition, but more. I guess that's the whole thing. Like I kind of have just ridded my mind of competition. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's a weird thing to do because I think in today's in any society, it's competition is just everywhere.
Right. Well, especially in like YouTube, because you're literally competing for like others' like attention.
Yeah. No, that is true. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, like think of it this way: like you could go online and like think of how many tutorials there are to draw something simple.
Right.
And there's so many different ways, but it's still unique to each. Like as long as you put your uniqueness yourself of like how you would do it or how you do it, it's going to be your flavor of it. And maybe it's not going to be the most popular video or tutorial, but people are going to enjoy it. It'll definitely, like, it's just a numbers game of people that will watch it. And if you get rid of the competition mindset, you can actually just do that kind of stuff and not even worry about it. And like obviously you don't want to go around copying people's content and stuff like that and just reposting it, because that's not genuine. But if you're just doing it from like, okay, I want to make today a how to draw noses tutorial, because you know you just started maybe doing it, and from that sense too, like there's no real competition. It's like you put it out there, and yeah, there's going to be other people that have posted it, but what if the way you're explaining it is much more understandable for one person and they just vibe with it, you know?
Right.
But numbers game wise, I'm a statistics person, and I'll tell you, there are so many people in the world that we really, as artists, nobody should even feel like we're competing. We are the 1%, less than 1%. Anybody that's an artist that actually does it and pursues it and like puts content out is such a small little blink of an eye that there's more people that could be getting into it than we ever know, and there's not a limited amount. That's not limited. So like supply and demand, like if it were the other way around, if like 99% of the world were doing art, I would definitely say we're in a competition. But when you have like such a small amount of subsect of people that are doing art on a more serious level, it's a niche. You're not who are you competing against, like, and why? Like the ceiling has never even been found yet, so why put that ceiling on yourself, I guess. So, and I mean, I think that's too like true, like if you think about like competition, like at the end of the day, like in our world that we live, it's like, you know, in the US it's a like capitalistic type mentality with money. It is competition. You can't lie, you can't say it doesn't exist, because there is a limited amount of money, and there is like there's those limitations are there. I mean, that being said too, money is, at least in the US, the more you look into it, it's kind of made up. So that being said, I mean, you still have to, everybody, if you like listen to this, if you gotta go and eat food, you need money. You can't pretend like it doesn't exist. Don't take from that it's made up to the point where you're like, it doesn't matter, because it is there, and it is something that is an established thing. But with art, well, the only thing we have established is like 10 or 15 years of YouTube people doing it. Think of it like the mindset of somebody, if they took like an old school mindset and they came into YouTube and they just were so close-minded to it, and they're like, yeah, it's competition, and it would keep them from doing anything on here.
Right.
Versus the open mindset of like, yeah, I'm just going to go and do my thing and put it out there, and it might be similar to what other people are doing, but at the end of the day, it's what I'm doing. And it's like, we might, like, I think also to a really young and like also like not as far aware, is like a lot of people think that like if one person does something and another person does something very similar, that they copy each other.
Right.
But that's been proven over and over, that there's been people that have created like this almost the same exact inventions,
right,
you know, a year apart, or maybe even the same or similar time, but they were both not even things that were released to the public, and then they go and both release it around the same time, and they end up like, you know, either being in competition or one person saying you copy me. But the reality is they both came up with an idea that solved the problem, and they came up with a very similar solution. Doesn't mean they copy each other. So, and one person's might be slightly different than the other, and it might give them that advantage. If you want a perfect example of that, Oreo cookies.
I don't know that.
Have you ever heard of Oreo cookies alternative?
No.
Hydrox cookie?
No, that sounds like a cleaning material.
Well,
yeah.
The part of it that I think they failed on was like the branding of it. But yeah, Hydrox cookies were the OG cookie, Oreo cookie.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I want to say it's even to the point where it was like the same family, but like two different family members that had the same or similar recipe, and they both came out with these cookies, and Oreo ended up winning. And this was something that like the Hydrox, I think, went away like early 2000 or maybe like in the 90s. That being said, Hydrox was around much longer than Oreos.
Hydrox
came out.
Hydrox cookies.
They came out in like the early 1900s.
Oh wow.
And they actually taste better.
They look like way prettier too.
They were
so
like,
fancy.
I don't know how to explain it, but they just were like I remember eating them as a kid, and I thought I thought my parents were just buying like off-brand ones, but I liked them better than Oreos.
Right.
And I was just like, I thought they were buying them because like they were like, because they look like the naming and all that stuff. I was just like,
It's
this
like
is
so
like
fancy. That's interesting.
no, I honestly I was like Oreos. That's the OG. That's what comes in
Yeah.
the snack packs, the whatever the lunch packs. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy.
ne-
These actually
I would
look
never
like way
do that.
better. They look like way tastier, honestly.
Legitimately, I'm telling you that, and like Oreos came out like 5 years later or something like that, and they both came to the market, and but it was from the same family. Is the crazy thing.
Hmm.
Like and like think about that, like competition within the same family, like that's nuts.
Yeah.
Like why would you do that to yourself? Why couldn't as a family just be like we can work together and make the best cookie ever?
Right. Apparently, you can get them at Walmart, I guess.
Oh, they brought Hydrox back?
Well, I guess they never stopped selling them. Cause like they're here, yeah. You could just buy them.
They
You can
stopped
order them
selling
on
at
like
one point.
Amazon. Oh, that
They
makes
stopped
sense.
selling at one point. Maybe they brought them back.
Even the branding is like the same, like the coloring in the packages. That's funny.
So and I found this all out because I did a short video
This
on
looks pretty
Oreos.
good.
People
Yeah.
educated me a little bit, and I actually had a long time ago. I had like this an email from Hydrox that said like we'd like to work with you, and I thought it was a scam.
Oh wow.
But because it was like from a TikTok account that had like 0 followers.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's literally like their professional brand TikTok. And they're trying to like, this is a scam. Only
like,
6 followers.
They just didn't know what they were doing on social media, and maybe that they were legit though. Now that you say that, like I'm thinking that they might have been.
It's literally like, yeah. Sorry,
so
go ahead.
viral.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just had a video that went viral. That's all that I was gonna say. and Hydrox is like, we need you.
Right. That's so funny.
And I didn't help them. No.
I know. They're like, please, please.
I thought it was just like a joke thing. I thought it was a meme. I thought it was some kid that was like, yo, we need the Hydrox, yo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go look at the account and look that message and see if like they somehow like made if they actually made something of their account.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, they're verified now. All right, Pelfer. Well, we have been on for a while. I hope we're talking. I don't know. It's been good talking to you. I mean, I feel like.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's funny how much like our brains are kind of in sync, like already with these conversations.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was really cool to like to hear everything you had to say, and like your takes on all this stuff is so fun, so cool. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to do some stuff more like this in the future if you're up for it.
Definitely.
Maybe make it more like official, like planning it, and like even if you're up for, if it's something that you'd be like a guest or be willing to be like a guest on one of my channels, just because we can, like the way I'm thinking about it is like if we did something like this where we both can be in like the chat and kind of get more people coming over here, because you stream a lot more frequently than I do.
I only stream once a week.
But that's more frequently than I do.
Oh wow.
You're like, I stream, but they're so random and sporadic, and it's like you're consistent. So
right.
But my thought on it is if I can get my audience like aware of you, they're gonna like they're not all of them, but there's gonna be some people that are definitely gonna gravitate to your like consistency and your schedule and stuff like that. So
right.
it would just be beneficial. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I think if we're both on one stream and there's one chat feed, one of us can kind of be keeping an eye on chat while the other person's either drawing or doing that, or however it works. But we can definitely figure it out where it makes it so it works. And I think there's a way we can join both of our video feeds through YouTube. It might be through the YouTube mobile app, where we just like basically I'm like either you or I make one and then we can join if you're up for that.
So, right. Definitely. I am.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think that sounds fun.
I mean, I'd love to get more people coming your way, because there are like finding the people that are like kind of in our stuff or going down art path. It's good to have, I think, community.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it is a rarity. Like it's less than 1% of the, so 1 out of every 100 people basically.
Right.
Sticky for president 12.
Sticky, dude, I'm down. I'm
gonna.
I'll vote for you.
The problem. Here's the problem. At least with the U.S. is, it's always been this way. There's only 2 sides to it, and I can't say that I'm like I would ever be able to say I'm this side or that side.
Right.
I'm more of a person, and this is my mentality, and why it doesn't always work. It's because I'm more of like trying to I take new information and I process it and I
Mm-hmm.
make it apply to everything that I know. And I know that I'm also flawed with it. So I know that like I'm not perfect and I'm totally fine with making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I can't ever say I'm on this side or that side and that like you know, and I would never hold a stance like on it. And it's like even when I was growing up, like I'll be honest, like when I was going to school for environmental science and like I would always just say I'm part of like the environmental party or whatever. You know?
Oh, that's so funny.
And environmental party, I'll just give a hint on how that works out. But I don't think there's ever been anybody that's gotten past like the initial stage of like,
Nobody cares about the environment. They care about that money, that Gucci money.
well, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people do care about the environment.
Name
They just
every environment, or you're wrong.
name every environment. Or you're
I'm
wrong.
just kidding. Or you're not a real fan.
You're not a real fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a total no. It's one of those things where I think a lot of people do care about that stuff. They just there's either not enough education or there's like the focus is so put on other things that it like takes away from the true values. Because at the end of the day, we're all living on a planet that. I mean, let's be real. You can't just destroy things. You can't destroy your environment. Like,
Right.
it doesn't work out well. So,
Right.
and it's and money when money is semi made up and the environment is the reality, that's what I focus on reality personally.
Right.
Because the money side of it, I mean, like it's here gone there, I don't know. In my experience, money is it's just a very weird thing that is part of society. It's so ingrained into us that it can't be the focus.
Mm-hmm.
And the more it is, like it shoots off red flags for me that it's like whatever, like if you have to focus on the money and like put it on that, it means whatever the value is even less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I'll give one example before I go, just to
You're right.
But because I always think of things like this, and you can tell me what you think. But like, think of like name brands,
Uh-huh.
like Louis Vuitton, other name brand, the super high end, fancy stuff.
Versace.
Perceived value versus actual value. So
Right.
what does the value do? It gives you a way to put things in there, and you have actual value. It does have a value.
Mm-hmm.
And now they put their name on it and they make it a super fancy thing, and you think it's perceived like it's so amazing, and but is it really better?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely not.
In fact,
Probably
they've
worse.
actually shown that most name brand high-end stuff is usually considerably worse designed, as well as like function-wise, as well as the fact that the quality of it, you would think it's made out of like all this crazy expensive materials.
Right.
Materials are usually as cheap, if not cheaper, than the stuff that you're buying for regular use.
Right.
Yet people, because of the perceived value, and a lot of this is perceived value can be very manipulated, especially in a society that values only like more money.
Mm-hmm.
And people will go, oh my goodness, that's this person, that person. Like some people will have that mentality, you know, and they're like, I need it or to feel validated or whatever. But that's at the end of the day, that's like what people do, like with money stuff. And I mean, that's just obvious for most people, but for some people that they will never see past that. They just go like, I need that bag because it'll make me feel so good.
Right. They could show it to their friends.
The same people that'll get it and they'll use that bag once and then they'll be like, I hate it.
Yeah. This is the
After a
worst.
year, 'cause it's out of style. This is like, and yeah, it's like all that. I've learned that, and I'm just like, I'm tired of like facades being the ones that get the value put on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the comments.
Bring back Captain Planet. I'm sure Trump Media is worth 10
Captain
billion. Please
Planet.
invest. Yeah.
I just read the Captain Planet. That show was so good. Oh man. Well, I'll put it this way: the people that are in chat here, for the most part, people are not the people that are out here like. And if you do like name brand things, there's no shame on it. Enjoy what you do. I don't want to knock it because I feel like that too is like that's not for me to do.
Yeah.
But that is my take on it. That's my understanding of it. And I'm just saying, like factually though, like they have done like checks on a lot of those high end stuff, and they are just cheaply made. Like
Right.
because at the end of the day, I think they're trying to make money is what their goal is. It kind of seems that way at least.
I mean, it's almost like that's the incentive of every business. Yeah. Whoa. No way.
Well, I mean, I think that not like here's a difference. Like you can have a business that has really good morals and core business mindset of like, but it still has like the main, and it holds to its true, like, because when you create a business, you're supposed to have like a business statement that says like what the point of the business is.
Right.
And if you're break that at any point, that's when, yeah, it's like the business has basically just become like a money maker or whatever. It's not like whatever it was about. So, and anything, companies that are really doing well are the ones that kind of stick to their core value.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think all, and I don't think all of our system, like you know, we live in a very capitalistic world. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it can drive people to not see the whole picture if they don't choose to, or if they're not educated on it, I guess.
Right.
Money isn't evil. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, to have a bartering system, I mean, that's what it used to be. And you need some form of something. You can't just have it where, okay, you provide this, and then like just give it to me for free, because then it goes back to like it doesn't have value.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully things like in the big picture, it'll work out. But in my experience, I'm just doing my thing, and I try and put out that, and hopefully those vibrations vibrate with other people, and it makes change somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal.
Right.
And I think too, like the whole thing about president and reading that, because that's been said a few times. I think the best thing is the more like not necessarily like structured, but like being able to have a platform is as important, without it being like a point where it's like I'm like in a position like I still think it's like it's more beneficial, because if I were to ever go based, I would always be based, versus like if I just stay myself and I try and think of like what's best for large community and as well as myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the best guidance for me, because then it doesn't force me into like really bad paths.
Right.
And that's, I don't know, I'm fortunate for that. I don't know where I got like my moral guidance of like that, but I think that's an important thing to have that not everyone unfortunately is blessed with. So
no, it's a lot of that is like you see the injustice around you and you're like, oh, this is because they're not thinking through like all the outcomes of the situation.
Yeah, and it can be really depressing if you like look at it from that too, because then it's like it starts to normalize what the bad behavior is and just be like, that's what life is. And it's like it can get to a point where it's just demotivating.
Right.
So,
right.
And it feels like you can't make a change. But I think we all have a lot of input in it. We're all connected. We all have a say. So, and there definitely is power in numbers. So, if I can, you know, help somebody just figure out their own path and do it in a way that is beneficial for the whole world, I think that's my end thing that I think is the best core to focus on, and just try to never stray from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, thanks again, Pilfer, and yeah, and I don't mean to like push any of my ideas too much on you, but I feel like
I appreciate it. I think we're pretty similarly minded, so I appreciate it. It all makes sense.
Alrighty, well, have a good rest of your Monday and
I will.
week, and
yeah,
we'll be. I'll definitely, if you want to reach out, or we can figure something out in the future just to do what works out. That'll be cool.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds awesome, man.
Alrighty, man. Well, have a good one. Everyone in chat, have a good one. I'll be streaming a little bit later. Yeah. You're probably going for a little bit longer, right?
I'm going to be done right now. I'm going to end,
yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, then, thank you for having me on here, and have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one, dude. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Alright, guys, I'm also ending the stream. I appreciate you all hanging out. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know if that'll be like a regular thing or not. I don't know if either of us have decided that, or what's like best for the stream in general. I think it would be cool to like moving forward have people on stream to like talk with while we're all drawing together. But if that's something you guys want, let me know. If it's not, let me know. Because I can't really like involve all of you in it simultaneously like before, where I would like constantly read comments. So it's definitely something different. But I appreciate you all being here. Thank you, Pocolatte. Thank you, Ava. Bye-bye. It was nice chilling with you. Nice chilling with you too, buddy. It's funny that you're a penguin and say chilling. Thanks, Doris here. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you, Unbab, for hopping in. I appreciate it. Fafa, thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you too. everybody. Let me see who else. Ava, hello, thank you. Perry and Distracted Desk, thank you. Good Google Chrome, thank you. Mero Hassan, thank you. Brian, thank you. Sticky, thank you. Siegel, thank you. And Leo, thank you. I really appreciate all of you being here. It means a lot. And have a great night and stay safe, Wolf. Bye.